Hello, folks. Thanks for being here. Who do we got? We got Doctor Who Dunda. We got Denise. Equo 26, always here on time. Psalm 40, Liar Bliss. Everybody's coming on in. Yes, you will see that I am not on camera today. Things are not going well, folks. Things are not okay. I am unwell, but here we are. We're doing the show. I'm sending out the text message now. Oh yeah, Psalm 40, mentioning the IRS bill. Certainly it is not going to do anything. It'll be struck down in the Senate. But it's a fun thing to watch happen in the theater of politics there. Oh my goodness, Liar Bliss, thank you for asking. No, not really. I'm not any more sick than I've been. It's a long story, and you will hear all about it in the show. The intro to the show. Oh, which is going to start here in a second. So go to canarycry.party. Check it all out, folks. Produce the show. If you haven't produced the show in a while, this would be a really good day to do it. This would really be the day to swoop on in. Even if it's not financially, send us an email, volunteer for something, help us out. The production, the pre-production on this show has gotten completely out of control. This is what happens, folks. If you want to be a podcaster, sometimes it is just as much as any other gig, in that it takes everything from you. All right, I'm just complaining now. Let's get the show started. You ready, Guns? Okay, let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is January 11th, 2023. We are live to tape on episode 580, and today, it's highly classified. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz, formerly of the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, live to tape from California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ. You need it, Basil. While reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events, today's emergent phenomenon, clarity. We're going to get clarity today. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
No clear indication of what that's all about, but
it's going to be awesome.
It's a theme.
Yeah, let's see here. What do I do? We're going to do the disclaimer. Is that what we do?
Yes. You're a little frazzled today. You are
one of those. I am unwell. Things are not good. If you're watching the video show, you see that I am still my illustrated buff barista Basil person today. You'll hear all about it. later on in the show. But let's get it started. Here's a disclaimer.
It's time
Listen
for
up.
a disclaimer.
Now listen up.
YouTube.
That's right, and just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. Ow. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. That's right, we're good boys. Man, I sounded so peppy in that. It was a different Basil back then when we recorded that. Now I'm an old, grizzled, war-hardened goblin. Let me give you a rundown of the show.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
Starting the show out, some current events. What happened? What happened to all the planes? That's right. For just a moment, to my knowledge, it's the only moment since 2001, 9/11, that every plane in the country was grounded this morning. We'll talk about that, see what's going on. Then Flippy, more robots getting fired, folks. This is good news. Not here to fearmonger. We are also here to celebrate the victories of the humans over the robots. Then in our first block, we'll be having a debunker bunker. That's right. That's very fun. We're going overseas. We're going to Australia, checking in on their new misinformation policies. And then we'll bring it back home to the U.S. as New Jersey students are getting a lesson in debunking there. We will be critiquing the curriculum on how we are teaching children to navigate the internet and fake news. Then, while we're at it, we will check in on some fake news coming from the Kremlin. And not only fake news from the Kremlin, but fake news from the fact-checkers of the Kremlin, and then some fake news from the fact-checkers of the fact-checkers of the Kremlin. It's all about media literacy in this show today, folks.
Clarity.
We're gonna learn something. Then is the music over already?
No, it's still going. Roll on.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Second block of the show will be talking about Wackchine. We may very well cut off YouTube today. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to get a little rowdy. Let's see. Moderna. Jimmy Fallon's doing a dance or something. Moderna doing what Moderna does. The FDA. The doctors approving the jabs. They're not happy. Nobody's happy, folks, except for the members of our armed services. They got some good news today. We'll be talking about that. And then at the end of the show, I don't know, something about Antarctica and like blood stuff. So stick around.
I apologize for the first-time listeners who are like, this guy's really kind of he's
oh yeah, this is
rowdy.
This is not the greatest first-time listeners, although every episode is somebody's first episode. And for you, Daryl from Nantucket, I apologize. I got a bad attitude today, but we'll talk more about it. But Gans, what really matters is our lead stories. Why don't you get us in there?
The COVID-19 crisis would be seen as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber pandemic.
Cyber pandemic. CNN.com had the headline, "What is NOTAM?" NOTAM. The FAA computer system that halted all U.S. flights. So yeah, as you mentioned at the top there, all the U.S. flights were halted this morning, and I guess it was all on this NOTAM thing. So let's find out a little bit according to CNN.
Do you remember? I mean, I'm not saying that it absolutely hasn't happened, but do you remember this happening ever since 9/11?
I don't think so. There could have. I think there might have been an
like
article.
Something we would have heard about.
Yeah, we did have the USA Today as a second reference because the first line says a computer glitch at the FAA delayed airline traffic, and of course, computer glitch is always kind of a fun way to describe
always
things
fun.
that are very vague.
A non-answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, none of these articles mentions 9/11, but it's certainly unprecedented. You don't normally get entire halts of all the planes in the U.S. But let's just hear what the what CNN has to say here. A critical Federal Aviation Administration computer system that experienced an outage Wednesday and briefly halted all U.S. flights provides airlines with a digital bulletin board of crucial safety updates. The system is known as Notice to Air Missions, or NOTAM. It sends alerts to pilots to let them know of conditions that could affect the safety of their flights. It is separate from the air traffic control system that keeps planes a safe distance from each other, but it's another critical tool for air safety. NOTAM messages could include information about lights being out on a certain runway, or a tower near an airport not having the required safety lights working, or an air show taking place in the airspace nearby. Quote, "It's like telling a trucker that a road is closed up ahead. It's critical information," said Mike Boyd, aviation consultant at Boyd Group International. Boyd and others said Wednesday's problems are a sign that computer systems need to be upgraded. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe some blockchain, but the airplanes can run on blockchains.
We're hearing a lot about this. I forgot what the other recent story was, but all these government institutions are complaining about how old their computers are, and there's been a lot of shutdowns and stuff like that recently. I think it has to do with the what is it? The cap on the debt ceiling. We're running up against the debt ceiling again.
Oh, yes.
And everybody's all worried about the new Republican House and how they're gonna really stall things on raising the debt ceiling, which is funny because we've never not raised the debt ceiling. It's used as sort of a political tool. But Biden's been talking about all of his awesome budget cuts and deficit savings and stuff, and yet we still keep running up against. We're coming up on $32 trillion now, which does open up the opportunity for the debt ceiling to be raised to $33 trillion, which will be that'll be a fun one. But it's right about that time when you start sort of, engineering lots of political reasons why we have to up the debt ceiling, and this would be one of them.
There's a quote here from
NASA was the other.
Yeah, Jeff Freeman, CEO of the U.S. Travel Association, had this to say, quote, "Americans deserve an end-to-end travel experience that is seamless and secure, and our nation's economy depends on the best." Deserves. We deserve an end.
What do we deserve?
We deserve end-to-end travel experience.
Does anybody deserve anything? What's even the point?
Nihilist Basil, everyone. And our nation's economy depends on a best-in-class air travel system. And listen to the rest of the article is fantastic here, because it says, although many flights take place without needing to see one of those notices, it is important that NOTAM messages reach the pilots who are trained to check for them. So, yeah. Is it really worth halting all of the air travel?
Yes.
I feel that this is kind of a cover up for something else, but
I'm sure that some 747s disappeared off the radar and will be found in Bali somewhere or something. I mean, this is a classic, operation where you hello, has anybody even seen Ocean's 11? This is what happens. You find a reason to shut everything down. You stop, you halt all traffic. And then, when the lights come on, sure, maybe there's a couple jets missing. And then, 10 years later, those jets mysteriously pop up again sometimes.
And they haven't aged a single day. They found the time loop. Hello, son. What are you doing here?
Oh, now we got a baby.
Yeah.
Good.
Let me continue on here because there's some interesting things here. The FAA also operates the nation's air traffic control system with air traffic controllers using radar to track, hold on, bud, all planes in their airspace and radio communications with their cockpits to guide them safely. The computer systems that are the backbone of ATC systems have also been known to go down, but when that happens, it typically only affects one region of the country, not the entire nation's airspace.
Yeah.
NOTAM is NOTAM is a national system, so its failure Wednesday meant that flights across the country were ordered not to take off for a couple of hours before they were cleared to fly again shortly after 9 a.m. And then at the very bottom here, I thought it was fun and interesting. NOTAM has been around for decades, but until December 2021, it was known by the name Notice to Airmen, although the acronym remains the same. It was changed to remove the gendered term. Notice to Airmen is a gendered term, so we can't have that in the FAA, airfield.
Yeah.
And so they removed the gendered term, and because the notices were also then being sent to drone operators and not just pilots on board aircraft, Basil, we have to include the drone ops. Notice to Airmen is offensive to drone ops.
Oppressed,
drone op class.
Drone operators.
Listen, if I was...
You can't have those drone operators, those 23-year-old drone operators launching missiles at Afghani weddings from a CIA black site in Nevada with an Xbox controller. You can't leave them. You can't let them think that, they're pilots or airmen or whatever.
If I was a drone op, if I was a young drone op and they wanted to call me the Notice to Airmen, or at least use that phrase so that I'm cool considered an airman. Yeah, that's awesome. Why would you not want that? But I guess it was offensive to somebody. So there you go.
Maybe that should have been not offensive. Maybe excluding them is sort of the point.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, yeah. Maybe keep them off the grid.
Somebody's been flirting with somebody they're not supposed to flirt with, and then some higher up goes.
Something happened to your microphone or audio or something.
Oh yeah. No idea why that just happened. No reason. No reason. Just
your mic stopped working.
Skype just switched over to my computer laptop microphone for no reason. Of course, today is the day that this happens. Okay, I'll fix this. Continue.
Okay, well, that's it. I mean, well, let me do one extra thing here as a takeaway. I think this has something to do with the Great Reset, obviously a cyber pandemic. I'm going to play the full clip real quick from Klaus Schwab talking about the cyber pandemic. We have it in the jingle, but sometimes it's good to play the full, 40-something seconds for context. So here's Klaus Schwab, and then I'll quote him from his book, The Great Reset.
Frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
There you go. And
there it is.
Oh boy. Just real quick. Yeah, I know. Klaus makes me cry too sometimes, buddy. Yeah, it's troubling. I know. I agree with you. So there's a book that Klaus wrote called The Great Reset. It's not a conspiracy theory. It is literally the name of the book that was written by Klaus Schwab. And on page 69, he has some things that CEOs and, well, I guess business and industry leaders should consider. And I don't know why I can't get to here. It is. Okay. In a section titled Micro Reset, Industry and Business, he offers these questions that some of these leaders should be asking. Shall I encourage remote working for those who can do it? About 30% of the total workforce in the U.S. Number 2, will I reduce air travel in my business? And how many face-to-face meetings can I meaningfully replace by virtual interactions? How can I transform the business and our decision-making process to become more agile and to move faster and more decisively? And number 4, how can I accelerate the digitization and adoption of digital solutions? Oh, how convenient. All those digital solutions are ready to roll out because, hey, flying on an airplane is becoming a problem. Russia might hack the American system and take all the planes down. You never know with these glitches.
Yeah.
So
why not?
Yeah,
why not? This happens sometimes.
Why not? The way things are going today, why not? Why not have
Yeah.
Putin just
Yeah.
totally take down the entire system?
It does make me feel a little bit better that there's that the FAA, some IT guy, pretty much the whole FAA is feeling the same sort of frustration that I'm feeling today. It's nice to know that I'm not alone. So anywho, it is very suspicious. I've never heard of this happening before. I'm seeing a few different pieces of information regarding what technically may have happened. Looks like possible hack in the sort of database. Also could just be old stuff. So, this kind of stuff happened.
It's coding gone wrong.
Yes. A reference that I'm sure at least 3 of our listeners will understand. Well, with that, you got anything else to say about this?
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. It feels like a Monday, but it is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday.
Hey guys, know what date it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the Canary Cry News Talk. Yeehaw!
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
WMD, Wednesday, my dudes. But
Yep.
some Wednesdays, they really are weapons of mass destruction, aren't they?
Today has been a weapon of mass destruction, for sure.
Yeah, it's there you go. It's Wednesday. You got anything going on, Gons, you want to share with the people?
Yeah, my 40th birthday is coming up in a couple weeks here. And and for some reason, I mean, this has been oncoming. I think I've mentioned it before on the show, maybe a while ago. But dad jokes are resonating like never before, Basil. I don't know why. My brain, if I'm just sitting around and walking, it just goes there. I start coming up with stuff. So I did have a prior list, and I revisited the list. I wrote some new ones. So for the foreseeable future, I will share at least one dad joke that came from this noggin here.
Listener, this has been my life for like the past 3 days. This has been a sickness that has been growing and sort of festering over there in my good buddy Gons. And just sort of text messages coming in at all hours of the night.
You ignore my text messages, which is fine. It's gotten to that point.
Unless
I really specify that you should look at it.
I need to protect myself, Gons. And sometimes he's not even writing dad jokes and sending them to me. He is sending a YouTube link to somebody else's dad jokes with no description, no warning, no nothing. And he knows, I thought to myself, Gons knows that I don't click on YouTube links that don't have a description. It's an occupational hazard. I've had to set this boundary for myself. We talked about this last episode. And the other night, it was late. It was late at night. It was bedtime. I was in bed. And like 3 text messages in a row came. And they were all YouTube links. And I said, oh my goodness, Gonzo. And I paused and thought to myself, he knows. Gons knows that I do not open YouTube links that have no description. I just don't do it. But because he knows this and he still did it, it must be important. This must be something important. I will break my rule for my good pal, and it's dad jokes. It's dad jokes. It's really set the stage for the rest of the week, I think. But I'm glad you're finding happiness. I'm glad you're finding some joy.
I think it's just getting older. You find joy in simple things. But okay, I made a couple here that are a little bit more kind of show, like on topic with the show. So hopefully
good. You have some examples for us.
I do, of course. I'm not going to just say I wrote dad jokes and not share them. What would be the point? Okay.
Great.
So I got one here. If Russia was red and Ukraine was black in a game of roulette, I'm putting my money on red.
was a long walk. It was a long walk to get to that one, Gons.
All right,
But
one
you
more.
did it. It is
One more.
It is technically a dad joke.
It
Okay,
is.
one more.
Elon Musk said he wants help building Neuralink's brain-computer interface. I said, I won't chip in.
Well, that's good. It's not easy to write jokes, and those are very show-specific. Maybe we can corner the market.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, man. I don't see any dad jokes specific to weird fringe Christian dads. I'm representing you out there,
the
Dave.
Weirdest kind of dad. There's a lot of weird dads out there. That is the weirdest kind of dad.
Yeah, well, there you
Well,
go.
good. Thank you for bringing some joy to someone out there, Gonzo.
I was hoping to bring joy to you, but
Yeah. No, you do. You always do. I just have a funny way of showing it. Yeah. I don't know. It's not even worth talking about anymore, I don't think. But it's been a rough day, folks. Been a rough night. Been a rough day. Didn't had one of those hard times sleeping again out of nowhere. So I think I got to bed at around 6.
6
woke up
p.m.?
at 6 a.m.
Oh, 6 a.m.
I think
Wow.
I'm estimating I fell asleep at about 6 a.m. And I woke up at 9 because that's kind of when I try to wake up to start working on the show. And I had some finishing touches to put on the computer. I was planning on having my big computer set up. I got it back from the guy and blah, blah, blah. And I spent from about 9:30 or 10 in the morning to about 3 p.m. Trying to get this computer working. I just can't do it. It's just, it's not the computer's fault. I don't know whose fault it is, but yeah,
It's big computer, man. They're trying to take me down. Take it down.
It's the Motu, man. It's the interface. It's the whole thing. It's a whole long story, but I'm going to throw this thing in the trash. We're doing it for the first time since this particular show started. I'm going to switch up some gear. It has to be done. I'm done with it. It's always been a pain in the butt, but I'm done with that. I don't know. It's just thing after thing today, and having no sleep.
Yeah, you were fired up when we first got on the call.
Yeah,
I wasn't even able to say like what's up before you were like, I'm
done.
This gear.
I'm throwing it in the trash, and I'm
real
getting
violent,
something else.
real violent, aggressive. But
Yeah,
it's okay. Yeah.
Oh, the fury, and it's not even so much that I couldn't get it working; it's that I was so hopeful that I wasted 5 hours. 5 hours. We could have done 2 episodes in the time that I spent trying to fix a thing. Anyways, this is not interesting for anybody to hear, so I apologize. But and then there's other stuff too, but it is what it is. And you know what? That is what I was gonna mention. Anybody out there who is thinking about becoming a podcaster, look, I love my job. I love my life. I love so many things. But do not be confused. As this show has grown and our resources that we provide to the listeners and the emails and the notices and the this and the that, the pre-production on this show has gotten absolutely out of hand, Gonzo.
It's a little crazy.
It is absolutely crazy. And if you're thinking of becoming a podcaster out there, do not even think for a moment that your successful podcast will not be as involved as any other possible task that you could take on in life. It is truly consuming. It has consumed everything. And unfortunately for us, when one little thing goes wrong, the whole rest of the thing goes wrong.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I got a bad attitude today, but we're still having fun. I'm glad to be here. Once we're doing the show, I feel good. We got a mission, and that's what we're going to do. And we couldn't do that mission if it weren't for our executive producers.
executive producers.
That's right. We're on the value for value model, which means we take no corporate money whatsoever, which is awesome. Can you imagine if we had some corporate money right now, Gonzo?
Oh.
Can you even imagine? Because I can't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like
I think I'd feel kind of.
it would feel bad.
Yeah.
That's why we don't do it. But we don't do it for a lot of reasons. When you get corporate money mixed up in independent media, what's even the point? You're not independent at that point. You are a part of the system that we are trying to break away from. And why would we be creating a show just as a vehicle to advertise for the corporations, causing all the problems that we are trying to expose? We don't. We won't. We willn't. And that means we're on the value for value model, which means those who get value out of this show have the opportunity to put value back in. It's completely voluntary, and nobody's going to shame you or make mean comments about you if you don't produce a show. That's totally fine. People make mean comments about us. People are convicted out there.
I know, people get real.
We had some very interesting comments coming through the past couple days. Look, we know that we demooch people. We'll demooch people. We demooch about 2 people a month, so it's not even something we do very often. But we're not out here calling anybody a mooch. It's always been voluntary, and we understand that. That is the burden of the value for value system, completely voluntary. But man, is the Holy Spirit convicting some people out there, and they are directing their discomfort in the wrong direction. So if you're feeling convicted for not producing a show, do not take it out on us. We got other things going on. It's voluntary, which makes it even more valuable. When people get value out of the show, they put value back in. You can do it with your time, your talent, or your treasure. And the executive producers are people, listeners of the show, who come in, they recognize the value, they understand the mission, they know that it wouldn't happen if it weren't for people being honest and hopefully sometimes generous with the ways that they get involved with the show. And the show does not exist without people getting involved. And so we like to thank our executive producers at the top of the show. You should thank them too. And let's do that right now. Gons, as of now, we have one executive producer, which we're very grateful for. And that is executive producer Rochelle.
Hey, Rochelle, thank you very much for your executive producership.
Yes. And Rochelle S. comes in, I think, for $111.11, which is wonderful.
Thank you.
I think it came through the link tree, I think. So it's the fees were all messed up, but I think that's what it was. And Rochelle sends a note. And the note says this: Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday.
Yes. Happy birthday, Rochelle. The note continues: I'm so glad it falls on a show day. So are we. You all are a gift year-round. So happy to be a part of this flock. Well, we are so happy to have you as part of the flock as well, Rochelle. You bring so much value to the show. On top of your executive producership here, and we are so happy to celebrate you along with the rest of the Canarians.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wait, hold on. Let me play this for you.
Where'd you find this?
Bankroll out the bankroll, I spend.
It's my birthday.
Happy birthday to
me.
Happy birthday, Rochelle. Thank you for the executive producership.
Indeed, we couldn't do without you. And, as of now, that is our one and only executive producership for today's show. So we are celebrating executive producer Rochelle all on her own. Thank you very much, executive producer Rochelle. And, folks, it's not too late. If you want to produce the show in any fashion, you can head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
We will be thanking more producers later on in the show, so there's still time to get your credits. These are real credits, by the way. You can put this on your LinkedIn profile, your job applications, your whatever. Say you're a producer of Canary Crime News Talk. Put down our email as a reference. We'd be happy to vouch for you. And with that, Gons, it's time for the Flippy Update.
Flippy Update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, folks. It's time for the Flippy Update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and now there's nothing we can do about it. Today, the Flippy Update. It's a celebration, if you couldn't tell. If my demeanor and my countenance did not give it away, we are celebrating one more win. We got a W on the human side of things here. I want to thank producer Jaded Dave over on Twitter for sending this to me. But yes, we not only do we like to track how robots are going to destroy us and our lifestyle and our world and everything we love and care about, but we like to document when the humans fight back. And this is one from BusinessInsider.com. The headline, Chili's CEO bought grills that can cook a medium steak in under 3 minutes and says they could shave more than $5 million in losses from unhappy customers. They changed the headline on me.
I was going to
change the headline on me. Yeah.
What was the headline before?
Well, it said something about, well, here's the quote. The robotics were slower than what our servers can do. This is, well, let's just read it here. I don't know what the headline used to be. Dang it. You might think Kevin Hochman, the new leader of Chili's, is anti-automation. A few months after becoming CEO of parent company Brinker International last year, the former Pizza Hut and KFC boss quickly paused all robotics testing at Chili's, including the use of robot food runners, a pilot drone delivery system, and yet to be launched a meal delivery test using autonomous robots. Chili's was getting into the game, folks, but not so fast. Kevin Hochman, champion of humanity, shuts it down. It continues. The dining room robots, which sang to guests and bussed tables, were fun, Hochman said, but they weren't leading to repeat visits or improving employee working conditions. Quote, the robotics were slower than what our servers can do, Hochman told Insider, and they kind of get in the way.
Ooh, this guy is going to be a target when the robots become self-aware. They're going to be like, where is Hochman?
That's right.
He hated us.
Well, when the social justice activists come in and start making lists of people who have said bad things about robots in the future, Hochman's going to be the first canceled CEO, I think. Well, first canceled CEO for that particular thing. Says here, so he scrapped bots and drones to invest in kitchen automation that cooks food faster and more consistently. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, you know what? Nobody's perfect, Kevin. In the future, when we do get to the social justice, restrictions on how you act and how you speak to and about robots, the phrase, he scrapped bots and drones, is going to be highly offensive. Yeah. That's like saying, let's say he was firing humans, That's like saying he rended the waiters limb from limb and threw them out the door. He recycled their bones. Yeah. Saying you scrapped a bot is a pretty hardcore thing. Yeah. One of the most intriguing innovations, a high-tech grill that cooks and sears medium steak to perfection in 3 minutes, blah, blah, blah. It goes in with how he spent the money. He scrapped the robots, and he bought better grills. Look at that. Grills with timers on it that cook the meat very fast. Very fast, hot, grills with a timer on it. So there you go, folks. If you ever think that your job is at risk of being taken over by a robot, just know you can just turn up the heat. Turn up the heat on that grill. No robots needed. I went to a ramen restaurant yesterday, Gons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Thought you might appreciate this. I went to a ramen.
Did you make the slurping of the noodles audible? Because that is part of the culture of eating.
It is only
ramen.
polite to eat the ramen in a messy fashion.
Got to eat it searing hot, too. None of this blowing the air
good
off.
Good restaurant. Everything was great. I ordered something to go because I was going to bring something home with me, and I ate there. And the waiter was punctual, brought out my food quickly, and he said the to-go order will be out soon. And I finish up my ramen, and I'm thinking, where's this to-go order? I need to get out of here. And beep, boop, bloop, bleep, blorp, this little robot comes rolling so slowly from across the dining room. I could see, you see the door where the food's coming out, and you hear it beeping and booping, and the motors whizzing and stuff like that. And it must have been 50 feet away. And it took this little guy so long. And I'm paid up. I'm trying to leave. And I now am sort of subject to be an unwilling spectator in this.
It's all part of the plan. They want you to buy another round of ramen.
Perverse display of robotic incompetence. This robot snaked it was a straight line from the door to me. There's an aisle. And this robot took 4 turns for no reason. It had one bag of my to-go order on his little tray, so I knew it was mine. And it was coming. It was taking forever. And my waiter, I could see him look out from the kitchen, and he saw the robot, and he walked out of the kitchen, walked up to the robot as the robot is beep booping around trying to get past a chair or something, picks up the to-go box, brings it, gives it to me, says goodbye. And that robot had a giant red button on the back of it, like a kill switch, Terminator kill switch. And the waiter picks up the food off the robot, brings it to me, which total waste of time.
Yeah, what a waste.
He walks over to the robot and just hits the big kill switch on the back of it. Just leaves it there dead in the middle of the floor. So I don't think the food delivery, food running robot is long for this world. Anyways, it's a personal experience. This is good news. I forgot to talk about my disaster. Hold on. I gotta go. Let's move on to the next thing. There's your Flippy update.
Okay, so you got more apparently. They should maybe do a little more from Basil's bunker. All right, are we moving on? You're done? Oh, he just disappeared. He just went away.
Hold on,
okay.
The gas people are calling me.
Oh, the gas. Right. Okay. Yeah, he's got generator issues. Okay, we're gonna move on here.
Get to the bunker.
The debunker bunker.
Got a few stories here to discuss surveillance, but also misinformation, disinformation, all those things. We're going to start off with The Guardian here. And the headline, WhatsApp and other messaging services left out of new Australian misinformation code, regulator says. Yeah, so this was reported a few days ago. We're going to just touch on it real quick because it's relevant to our other stories here. Here we go. Australia's updated misinformation code still fails to tackle large-scale group messaging and needs tougher requirements for digital media companies to report on harm reduction, according to the media regulator. The Australian Communications and Media Authority said it welcomed the new voluntary Code of Practice on Disinformation and Misinformation, released in late December, but signaled it would continue to push for powers to compel social media companies to hand over information about how they are combating misinformation and dealing with complaints. ACMA's push was endorsed by the Morrison government in March 2022 and by the new communications minister, Michelle Rowland, who suggested in June that social media companies could soon be forced to turn over data on posts and audience figures so the government can decide whether to tighten laws on misinformation. Online misinformation in Australia is self-regulated, with the tech peak body Digital Industry Group Inc., whose members include Google, Apple, Meta, Twitter, and TikTok, responsible for drawing up the voluntary code of conduct. That code was updated last month to redefine harm. Redefine harm as communication containing a quote-unquote serious and credible threat, but dropping the requirement that harm must be imminent. Wow, okay, so the detail, the little
that's nice.
trickaroo
It doesn't need to be imminent harm. It just needs to be sort of ambient harm.
Right. That's
theoretical future harm.
Yeah, even more in the direction of leaving the interpretation open to the interpreter there. It's not
right.
One less barrier, I guess. It also added a commitment to allow users to access, quote, general information about ... use of recommender systems, such as recommended tweets or TikTok's For You page, as well as access to, quote, options related to their content. The code also required transparency reporting for services with fewer than 1 million active monthly users in Australia, a change it said will also encourage greater participation by smaller platforms, of course, because it's easier to control the small people. In a statement to Guardian Australia, ACMA said it noted these, quote, several improvements and also praised changes that provide greater transparency about where users can go to make a complaint. Quote, however, the revised code does not address all of ACMA's concerns outlined in our submission, including the development of a more robust reporting framework and the expansion of the code to cover the propagation of mis- and disinformation on messaging services that facilitate large-scale group messaging, the statement said. And yeah, this gets into the WhatsApp situation. And, we brought the story about Signal last week. And yeah, it seems to be a push towards basically not just having social media, hand over all data to governments, but also the ability for messaging apps like Signal or WhatsApp or whatever to be open for, government scrutiny on misinformation, disinformation, basically your private conversations. You can't be saying the wrong thing in a private convo unless you want a phone call or a knock on the door from the government. And we kind of saw this during the COVID lockdown phase, and especially in Australia and New Zealand and stuff, where people, these cops would show up at the people's houses and they're in trouble because they made a Facebook post and blah, blah, blah. It's sort of solidifying those aspects of the government oversight when it comes to what they call some kind of controlling of misinformation and disinformation.
Oh, and they're eager. You're reading the Guardian article, right?
Yes.
Yeah. They're eager to increase the power. They say right there in the quote, they're just so excited to grasp even more power. They're disappointed that all they're able to do is limited in the way that they are, which, to be fair, it is one of these, self-regulated things within the corporations, which means, there's no government rules, but big tech doesn't like government rules. And by no means are they going to be taking orders from the government of Australia.
Right.
Facebook doesn't care what the government. So in a way, they're sort of admitting that they can't control the tech companies, which is not a surprise. But we have talked about the corporate, the private-public partnership, which is the Great Reset connection. Basically giving corporations more or less a sort of pseudo-government role. And so, to have it quote unquote self-regulated kind of gives this impression that it's not as severe than if the government was forcing them. But considering the big tech companies more or less are the governments, and right now more in theory and philosophy and in practice, but not in name. But Klaus has been pretty explicit about wanting to literally govern the world from the boardrooms of corporations, which is not much of a change from the way things have been, but it'll be sort of solidified in an operational way in the minds of citizens. And interesting that they talk about WhatsApp being one of the messaging services that they want to be able to regulate.
Right.
Is WhatsApp, of course, owned by Meta, but claims to be this end-to-end encryption. They claim to be sort of as safe as Signal is, and that was. Yeah, but they're obviously not. Mark Zuckerberg can get in the back door whenever he wants. So again, it's really putting to the test this idea of self-governance of these corporations, which of course in 3 years we're going to hear that they have been looking at them all along, and et cetera, et cetera. But the granularity of wanting to control speech down to individual private messages, how would you even do that without, full panopticon level access to your quote unquote encrypted private messages?
Who should we tickle next?
I am not a lizard.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, anything else on that? Did you
No.
want to show the source document? We do have the source documents in the show notes, in the newsletter. Sign up for the newsletter. Go to canarycry.party. Sign up for the newsletter. You can get these links right in your email box. It's just good to have the resource for when you're, talking to normies and you need mainstream articles to prove your point.
Right.
Let's bring it back over this way to the U.S. Gons.
Yeah, let's do this.
We've got this article from New Jersey.
NJ.com. Yeah, NewJersey.com.
NewJersey.com.
And thank you to producer Leo who sent this in. This definitely sparked a little rabbit trail on our end and gave us a purpose again. On a day where Basil was feeling like he had no purpose for life, this article just sparked life back into him.
So, by the way, just as the little update for everybody, that was my propane delivery calling. I was talking about I've got my new solar system. It's not entirely plugged in yet, so my generator's running all the time. I'm running the whole operation right now on 8 golf cart batteries, which surprisingly work pretty well. But it's been cloudy and stuff, and so they haven't been charging. And so I forgot to check my propane tank. So there's a chance that I will just full on run out of electricity during the show. Probably not during the show, but so that's just to kind of add on top of everything else. But enough about me. Let's talk about New Jersey. Coming soon to all New Jersey students. Lessons in debunking.
Woo! This sounds like a good deal. Hey, finally.
Bring up a child in the way they should go, Gons. Teach them how to debunk. This is we played the debunker bunker.
We did. You want me to play it again to get you going?
Yeah, play it again.
All right. Here's the debunker bunker.
Get to the bunker!
The debunker bunker.
Now, folks, I, like you, no doubt you are having the same thought that I had when I first read this. Coming soon to all New Jersey students, lessons in debunking. Thinking, surely we know what this is. They're going to say, don't trust anything unless it's printed in CNN or something like that. The idea being, if you're in a system, in this case, the school system, the United States school system, where it's much less about education than it is about programming obedient citizens. It's more of an indoctrination process to trust your country, trust the government, trust authority. Those who don't respond well to authority are weeded out. They're given bad grades. They're slapped on the hand. They're, all these sorts of things. That's what public school in the United States is for. And so, of course, nobody would blame you for thinking that the main idea here is that you're going to teach students to not read anything that doesn't appear on government-sanctioned legacy news outlets, aka government propaganda. But it's even worse than that.
It's actually worse. Yeah.
If you could,
you thought it was going to go the other way, right? Like, it's actually going to be good. This is a great direction for public education. But no, that's not.
It is somehow sort of inexorably worse than that.
Let's go.
Hear about it. Michael Warren's students at Hasbrook Heights High School were contemplating which conspiracy theory to explore and refute.
Ooh, already some presuppositions there.
Exactly. The assumption is that every conspiracy theory needs to be refuted. Certainly, there couldn't possibly be a real conspiracy. But here's the one their choices were. The CIA orchestrated JFK's assassination.
Yeah, a bunch of documents came out on that recently, and that's pretty well known now.
More tellingly, a bunch of documents came out on it, but some very specific ones were held back.
Did not, yeah.
Yeah. CIA orchestrated JFK's assassination. 9/11 was an inside job. The Earth is flat, and the moon landing was staged, among others. On Thursday, 14 students were learning skills that will soon be required for all New Jersey students: critical thinking, effective research, and how to evaluate information. Kind of sounds like this show.
It does sound like this show, but put it into law. Make it a law.
Just the day before, government Phil Murphy had signed a law making New Jersey the first state in the United States to require K-12 lessons in how to tell reliable information from fiction. Very strong.
It's very strong.
Polar sort of thing here. Reliable information from fiction. That's like worse than misinformation, malinformation, disinformation, the subtle differences in those things. No, This is just black or white, baby.
When I was growing up in public school, we had fiction books and nonfiction books. What happened to that? Why do we need this whole curriculum change in law to
No, guys. No. See, the funny part about this, Rami makes a good point here. The funny part about this is while these students are researching and trying to debunk 9/11 and JFK, they're definitely going to realize that 9/11 was an inside job. That's just what happens.
It depends on the reliable information that they're getting their news from.
Well, they're going to teach them lessons on how to tell reliable information from fiction and navigate a world and the internet rife with alternative facts and research rabbit holes.
Wait a minute. They're just using buzzwords now.
It's Kelly Conway.
Yeah, Kelly Conway. Alternative facts.
Under the measure, the State Department of Education will soon develop statewide standards for districts to follow, relying on the expertise of school library media specialists and teachers. In a classroom decorated with posters urging click restraint. It's in quotes there. Click restraint. The students on Thursday discussed ways to approach friends and relatives who had espoused conspiracy theories. So it's all about teaching them to approach their relatives who are espousing conspiracy theories. Again, it's kind of this turn the kid against the parents, and you will inspire, admiration and loyalty to the state. There's some very specific examples of this in history, which will get us banned on YouTube if we mention. Their midterm, in fact, had covered the satirical conspiracy theory known as birds aren't real. Now, I take offense to this, okay? Birds aren't real. They're just straight up coming out and calling it satirical.
Yeah.
Which it is, of course. Which posits that birds are government drones created to spy on citizens.
What was it that we uncovered about the founder? Wasn't there some connection with, I forget what it was now. Maybe somebody in the chat will remember. We uncovered some
couple years ago.
It wasn't that long ago. I think it was sometime last year where we actually connected the founder to something.
Yeah, he had some like CIA connection.
Yeah, there was definitely some intelligence connections. I forget the exact detail there, but
well, somebody go listen to all 7 trillion hours of the podcast from last year and let us know. Warren launched the class in 2019 to 2020 to help students find reputable online research sources. What do you think? Do you think this show is included in the reputable?
No.
It has since grown to cover misinformation campaigns and ways to interpret data on COVID and the vaccines. Listen to that. How to interpret data.
Yeah.
Remember when the mainstream was telling us it's not our job to interpret data, it's their job. It's bad for, regular citizens to try to interpret data. We're not smart enough. We don't have the common sense. We're not the experts. Well, apparently this class is aiming to teach high schoolers how to interpret data on COVID and the vaccines that even Dr. Robert Malone wasn't capable of doing or whatever. He uses information from nonprofit groups helping teachers and students navigate the web, including the News Literacy Project, Common Sense, and PBS.
Now, Basil, let me take you down a rabbit trail.
Come, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Oh, no.
Now, to their credit, all 3 of these sources, the News Literacy Project, Common Sense, and PBS, are linked in the article. Good job.
Yes, they did source these links. That's nice of them.
I'm going to start with News Literacy Project. It is an actual website. It's newslit.org. There's a little bio page on the founder, Alan C. Miller, and he's been part of the Democratic National Committee in 1996. He's won a Pulitzer Prize in 2003. He's a well-established guy and, very corporate. Very corporate. Now, the thing that I find interesting about News Literacy Project, so there's stuff for educators and there's, resources for everyone else, quizzes, podcasts, tips and tools, public awareness campaigns. But the acronym, I couldn't help but just mention the acronym NLP, News Literacy Project, NLP, because, there's another discipline that has the same acronym called Neuro-Linguistic Programming, which was first coined by Richard Bandler and John Grinder, 1975 book, The Structure of Magic. And also, just to keep it going, because, a lot of times the NLP, the neuro-linguistic programming aspect of it, is dismissed as sort of pseudoscience and, it's kind of nonsensical. It's not scientifically proven, yada, yada, yada. But there's another NLP from our good friends over at Stanford. It's the Stanford Natural Language Processing Group. They are also NLP. Now, what they do is basically the same thing as neuro-linguistic programming, but they put it into words that are a little bit more friendly. So the Stanford NLP group, we are a passionate, inclusive group of students and faculty, postdocs, and research engineers who work together on algorithms that allow computers to process, generate, and understand human language. Our interests...
It's NLP for AI.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the punchline. Our interests are broad, including basic scientific research on computational linguistics, machine learning, practical application of human language technology, and interdisciplinary work in computational social science and cognitive science. The Stanford NLP group is part of the Stanford AI Lab, SAIL, and we also have close associations with the Stanford Institute for Human-Centered Artificial Intelligence. So, yes, there you go. They're literally the training arm of the AI. So there's that. And again, that's not a direct connection for the News Literacy Project. I just find it interesting that the acronym NLP here happens to have not just the neuro-linguistic programming, but also the Stanford natural language processing. It's just a lot of overlap there with the acronym NLP. But hey, maybe that's just coincidence. Let's move on to Common Sense. Go to Common Sense website. That's commonsensemedia.org. And, I'm clicking around the website. I found the board of directors. It's a good gauge on what kind of money or what kind of people are controlling the ship over there at Common Sense. And in the list, there's former U.S. Secretary of HUD, Julian Castro. There's some independent people. There's some CEOs of companies, Security.ai CEO. But there's a couple here. There's David Ludwig, managing director at Goldman Sachs & Co.
Yeah.
And another managing director from Goldman. Two people from Goldman Sachs is on the board of directors for this group that is supposed to be helping young people debunk fake news. Yeah. I mean, come on, that is ridiculous. But let's say maybe that's just another coincidence, and there's nothing negative or sinister there. Let's go to PBS. So PBS, this one was the most interesting. They have a whole thing called Be Media Wise. Lessons to teach media literacy. And I know No Agenda had talked about this. It's another podcast who we modeled the value for value from. They talked about this, a few weeks ago, but it just, comes into view here in this article. So I thought I'd mention it. And what it is, it's a bunch of young people under 18, 17-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, making these 2 to 3 minute videos that are supposed to address a topic. So you got, how to spot misinformation spread by pink slime journalism, or corporate greenwashing. Is that big business for environmentally friendly companies? Or I can't believe it when I see it. A primer on spotting misinformation. So there's all these little videos. Now I clipped out one because it was, I thought, well, this could be an example of the level of debunking they're doing. This one's called Detecting Deepfakes. Don't be fooled by disinformation. On their lesson plan here. And let me just play about a minute of this. It's edited together, so it's not continuous, but you'll get the gist.
Today's world is filled with technological advances that come some amazing and scary realities, like the tech used to create what we call deepfake. Recently, the Washington Post TikTok guy, Dave Jorgensen, tweeted that a lot of people on TikTok are falling for a deepfake Keanu Reeves account. This might have been a surprise to the thousands of... First of all, why aren't you fact-checking? How do we know for sure Washington Post TikTok guy is a reliable source? That's my first question. But hey, let's just ignore that. Keanu Reeves account. This might have been a surprise to the thousands of fans of this account who thought they were actually watching Keanu, but Jorgensen is right. You're not actually seeing Keanu in any of these videos. So let's take a closer look at the Keanu Reeves account. There are definitely some major red flags here. The most obvious might be that the username is Unreal_Keanu, and the bio states it's a parody. Still, it has fooled a lot of people. Lesson here, always check the bio. Basil.
Always check the bio, okay?
The bio says it's a satirical account. Lesson, check the bio.
Media literacy.
Media literacy, baby.
Bio
check the bio.
On the account.
And how many people, there's 7.9 million followers on this Unreal Keanu account. How many people were literally like, oh, this is a Keanu's account? Do you think?
Zero.
It's
literally called Unreal Keanu. It says it's a satire. This is...
Oh, it doesn't.
It's pitiful.
It doesn't
get
any. It doesn't get better. Let me continue with the video.
The bio states it's a parody. Still, it has fooled a lot of people. Lesson here, always check the bio. We played one of the videos and examined it closely. Specifically, you can see that the skin on the Keanu Reeves face is blotchy. The hair's a bit off, the lighting changes in a weird way. This definitely means something's up with
the video.
Yeah.
Basil,
look at the video and that'll help you decide.
Yeah. The video it looks like somebody in a child learning After Effects or something, like
yes,
a lesson one
it's
on After Effects or something.
Very poorly done deep fake.
Yeah. So
the providers of the curriculum here, just to go back for a second.
Sure.
You've got the News Literacy Project, which is a big tech organization.
Yeah.
You've got Common Sense, which is run by Wall Street financiers.
It's big bankers.
Big finance. And you've got PBS, which is government propaganda, pretty explicitly. So you've got big tech, Wall Street, and the government creating the curriculum for news literacy. That surely couldn't have any problems with it. And so just for fun, I headed over to Chat GPT.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's always
the
time.
the chatbot sweeping the nation, the danger to Google itself. And I asked it a question. I said, explain the bias dangers of public school teachers teaching news literacy to children with curriculum provided by big tech, corporate finance executives, and the government. And it had this to say. Teaching news literacy to children in public schools is an important task as it helps to develop critical thinking skills and encourages students to become informed citizens. However, there are a number of potential dangers associated with having teachers rely on curriculum provided by big tech companies, corporate finance executives, and government agencies. One potential danger is that the curriculum may be biased in favor of the interests of the entities providing it. For example, a curriculum provided by a big tech company may place too much emphasis on the benefits of technology and downplay its negative effects, while a curriculum provided by a corporate finance executive may focus on the benefits of capitalism and downplay its drawbacks. Additionally, government-provided curriculum may be used for propaganda purposes. Another potential danger is that teachers who rely on this kind of curriculum may not be well equipped to identify and address biases in the information they present to students. Furthermore, having big tech companies, corporate finance executives, and government agencies involved in curriculum development and provision, they may try to influence students' perspectives and ideas in order to align with their own interests.
Okay.
And it goes on, but you get the point.
Yeah. Should we quote the guy here, the guy Warren doing the rolling out the lessons?
Sure.
He says, quote, "The hardest part is having young people be interested in the news," Warren said before his third period class filed into a classroom in the media center, formerly the school library. Oh, that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Forget the library. We're turning it into the debunker bunker. Quote, "It's tough. They don't follow the news, and that's what the course is meant to address," he said. Quote, "They can no longer just say, I saw it on TikTok. How do you go about checking that source?" Warren said he wanted students to become comfortable calling out misinformation when they see it. See something, say something. The class watched a video that gave evidence against the conspiracy theory that the moon landing was faked. At least 650 space program employees would had to keep the ruse a secret. It would be more costly to fake the landing than to complete it. And there is
the lamest.
These are horrible arguments. These are horrible arguments.
It is the worst argument against the moon landing conspiracy theory that's been maybe not even debunked is the right word. It's just logically inconsistent. The government has way more than 650 people at one time keeping way less important secrets.
Yeah,
and
compartmentalization. What Warren should teach here is that compartmentalization within government agencies or any institution or agency, probably at your educational facility there, is a thing. You know, you keep things segregated for the purposes.
It's easy to do. They do it all the time. Yeah. The students learned how conspiracy theories emerge when people feel the world is too complicated and want to build communities with like-minded people.
Oh, is that us?
This, again, is a very tired argument.
I think they're going after us.
No, they're just saying, hey, the world is very simple. So if you think it's anything more than very simple, then you're just a crazy conspiracy theorist.
Who needs friends, apparently.
And they came to understand the popularity of such theories. Warren cites, this is the best part of the article, in my opinion. They came to understand the popularity of such theories. Warren cited a 2014 global study, which they do link. We'll get to that in a second. Cited a 2014 global study showing only 30% of those surveyed had heard of the Holocaust and believed historical accounts of it. Now, okay.
What does that have to do with anything? But okay.
So somebody not hearing about the Holocaust is not a conspiracy theory. That's just somebody not hearing about the Holocaust. Now you might think, okay, what group of people are they asking? if they haven't heard of the Holocaust, okay?
Yeah.
Well, you just follow the link. Now, if I were teaching news literacy, what would be the first thing we would do? Check their sources. If they don't source something, be skeptical. If they do source something, check their source. Because they say here 30% of those surveyed had had not heard of the Holocaust. Well, we jump over to their link here to the study, and the headline for this study, it's at adl.org. ADL poll of over 100 countries finds more than 1/4 of those surveyed infected with anti-Semitic attitudes. Okay, it's a poll of people in over 100 countries. So, of course, everybody in the U.S. has heard of the Holocaust. Everybody in Europe has heard of the Holocaust. Everybody in Russia has heard of the Holocaust. But you can imagine, like, I don't know, a remote village in Africa or South America where, it's just not really there's not a whole lot of media, not a whole lot of internet, that you could imagine some people in the world not hearing about the Holocaust, right? Well, they said 30%.
Yes, the article, back to the main article we were on, It said, showing only 30% of those surveyed had heard of the Holocaust.
The study here goes like this. First sentence. Only 54% of respondents have heard of the Holocaust.
Wait a minute. 54 is not 30? What is going on here? Misinformation.
54 had heard of it, which would make it 46% had not heard of it. So they're not even accurately quoting the study that they themselves linked to. 46% is not 30%. Maybe this is a test.
No. Hold on. I think you have it backwards. I think you have it backwards because, the point stands.
I don't have it backwards.
No, the point stands, but the sentence in the article says that 30% of those surveyed had heard of the Holocaust, not heard of it. So 30%
That's
of
what
them
I'm saying.
had heard of it, and then the article says 54% have heard of it.
No,
so literally,
exactly. That's where I got the 46% from. 100 minus 54.
No, I know. But I'm saying that the comparison is not the opposite. It's the same. The 30 and the 54 should be the same because 54% had heard of the Holocaust. That's what they're saying in the article, is saying 30% had heard of the Holocaust.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I got that wrong. So there you go. Anyways, 30% is not 54%.
Right.
That's
the point.
That's the critical thinking that I just learned from their own article.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's bad, folks. Students also received tips on engaging conspiracy theorists. Ooh, keep calm. Don't get in a shouting match. Have you ever talked to your normie friends or family and they are almost 100% of the time, are they the ones who start yelling first? This was years ago. I had a conversation about vaccines with somebody, and I really, especially then, was not like all vaccines are here to kill us person. I just personally did not want a flu shot because people in my family had a bad reaction. And it turned into a shouting match in a blink of an eye because this person was so triggered that I would not want to get a flu shot. Usually it's the normies getting up yelling. So they got to teach the kids, keep calm, don't get in a shouting match, ask open-ended questions, encourage critical thinking, share facts from reputable sources, and use
reputable sources,
and use guns, and use humor.
Yeah. I think they're stealing from us.
Yeah. Anyways, it goes on. There's no more punchlines though. I mean, it's all horrible like that. So New Jersey.
There's a couple things I have highlighted at the very end.
Okay. All right.
Back in the classroom, sophomore Aiden Morrow said he took the class because he wanted to learn more about current events. Quote, "The class taught us how to tell the difference between good and bad websites, so we know which ones are credible," he said. That is indoctrination. That is not necessarily. Yeah. Quote, "I feel everyone should know how to do this stuff." Vienna Sky Dates, a junior. She sounds like a secret agent. Vienna Sky Dates. A junior said she used to rely on the first website that popped up, but I'm assuming on some kind of Google search. But now she checks to ensure she gets her information from legitimate sites. She said one of her friends believes the earth is flat, so she used some of her newfound skills to talk to her. Quote,
I'm sure that went well.
Quote, I try not to laugh, she said. I was kind of asking her what made her think and believe that, and I gave my alternate opinion. And did that work? Quote, sort of, Vienna said. She's like on the fence.
Oh, good. Great job. Yeah. I went to the NASA website and it said it was round.
It's round.
And then I told my friend that NASA said it was round, and now she's on the fence. Of course, I'm sure that actually happened.
I hope critical thinking is a focus here because that would benefit the kids. That's kind of what I was taught in school. Some basic levels of critical thinking, at least, this was back in the late 90s, so it's not the same as it is now. But, we would read opposing stories and books and stuff like that and sort of analyze the differences and, whatnot. Mm-hmm. But in this case, they're literally just saying, no, these websites are credible, these are not. And there is a point to be made with that, but if you don't have that critical thinking aspect, if that's not on the forefront, then just believing everything in the mainstream publishes is not the way to do actual media literacy. That's actually believing or regurgitating propaganda. So
of course, this is an indoctrination program to make sure that from a young age, the students are competent at reinforcing for themselves the mainstream narrative that's being fed to them. And it's going to work, folks. It's going to go well.
It's going to go well.
Speaking of which, we have a quick fun example of this. Guys, you saw something floating around the net here, and we had to go through and do some of our own media literacy here in the Debunker Bunker.
Yeah, so this is from ynetnews.com. And the headline, Blood libel, Kremlin claims organs harvested by Ukraine end up in Israel. Ex-security official Vladimir Ovshinsky said Ukrainian forces harvest human organs from dead and wounded as they transfer them to leading organ transplant centers such as Israel. Now, on the surface, look, I don't necessarily have a reason to doubt or believe something like that could be going on. I mean, it's possible. Of course, this kind of thing happens all the time. And so the story itself is kind of like whatever. Let me just read one point of it from the story. Ovshinsky also argued that there is every reason to believe that networks of, quote, black market medical businesses. Something happened to my. Oh no, something refreshed and I lost my spot. That was weird. Oh, okay. Weird. Okay, sorry. Ovshinsky also argued that there is every reason to believe that the network of black market medical businesses have proposed in Ukraine under the cover of international humanitarian organizations. The fact of the illegal harvesting of human organs under the auspices of the security services of Ukraine and the armed forces of Ukraine were documented back in 2014 during the civil conflict in the Donbass. So there is precedent for this. I'm not saying that it's untrue. However, who is ynetnews.com? I had to do a little digging because I was kind of like, that's not CNET. CNET's the one that's a little more official. And, I went to the Harvard mainstream media ownership page that we often cite because they keep track of who owns all these media outlets. And I did not see Ynet News on there. So clearly not good enough to be on the list. However, I did find a media bias factcheck.com analysis on Ynet News, and they rate Ynet News as left of center. And in terms of factual reporting, they're not very high. That's the highest it can be, but they're the next one up. They're high. They are high factual reporting, Basil, and left of center according to media bias fact check. But
so according to the fact checking website, it said that the story about the Kremlin claiming the organs harvested by Ukraine and end up in Israel, Ynet, should be fairly credible. It's left of center, they're the good guys. High factual reporting, so you can trust it. That sounds interesting. Okay.
However,
but the plot thickens.
So, to your credit, Basil, you were curious about media bias fact check. What's the deal there? The website looks a little shady, looks a little out of date or something. Just suspicious overall, I guess. So, you go to the wiki page and you find out that it's a website started in 2015 by a guy named Dave M. Van Zandt. And he's got a methodology here, 0 to 10 scale, yada, yada, yada. But the part that was funny, which is in this Wikipedia page, reception. According to Daniel Funk and Alexios Manzarlis of the Poynter Institute, that's Poynter Institute, quote, media bias fact check is a widely cited source for news stories and even studies about misinformation, despite the fact that its method is in no way scientific, end quote. In 2018, the Columbian Journal Review identified media bias fact check as, quote, an armchair media analysis. Additionally, the Columbia Journalism Review described media bias fact check as an amateur attempt at categorizing media bias and characterized their assessment as, quote, subjective assessments that have room for human biases or even simple inconsistencies to creep in. And even Scientific Report wrote, quote, media bias fact checks credibility is sometimes questioned. It has been regarded inaccurate enough to be used as ground truth, for example, media bias classifiers, fake news studies, and automatic fact-checking systems. So clearly, even the people that would be critical or shouldn't be critical of something like this are saying, not the greatest resource for any kind of...
And it's so funny. This is, of course, the integrity of fact-checking websites has been called into question forever, especially on our show here, because that's kind of the thing. I mean, remember when you were younger, when Snopes first came out,
Snopes was cool, man.
It was like you just checked everything on Snopes and you didn't even question Snopes. You didn't even, it's the fact checker, so you believe the fact checker, and that's that. Of course, now we know that Snopes is a ridiculous company
they had some
led by ridiculous people being paid ridiculous amounts of money to sort of rewrite history. Say ridiculous things. And so I think when it comes to media literacy, this is way over or underrated. And they should be teaching this in the New Jersey media literacy class. A large portion of media literacy comes down to, do you have an eye for web design? Because so many times you can tell the legitimacy of a website by how pixelated the logo is on
just some CSS
on the website.
Who's got the better CSS code?
How poorly formatted the font is in the text of the article. How the kerning, the spacing between lines.
I will say that given the standards we just laid out there, CanaryCryRadio.com is just a complete disaster right now.
It just
you want to look uncredible.
Here's the thing. Canary Cry Radio, and I'll remind, because there's always people who haven't figured this out yet, Canary Cry Radio was a different show, folks. Canary Cry Radio was the show we started in 2012. It was kind of before we were really full-time. We haven't done a Canary Cry Radio episode in about coming on 3 years now.
2 years.
I thought did we do any in
we
2021?
Did July 2021 was our last episode.
Oh, we did do it 2021. Okay.
We spoke to
a couple
Dr. Future, who's going back to radio. We'll talk about that at some point. We got the email today.
So, yes. And because we've been focusing so much on Canary Cry News Talk, yes, the template on our website expired. It's an old website. It is
went back to a default
disaster.
WordPress template.
Barely even that. And so, yes, we do need to. Now, I will say we have a producer who's working on fixing that for us. But yes, that is a good example of a website you should be skeptical of. If you want to see a highly suspicious website, go to canarycryradio.com. Remember, folks, you are listening to Canary Cry News Talk. They're two separate shows, and our current website is significantly better. Anyways, there you go. I hope you're all more media literate now, even in our community. And this is something that people get kind of bugged about us for, is that even in the sort of truther, fringy community, there tends to be a certain lack of media literacy, even within some very smart, well-intentioned people. And it's because of this that we've had sort of infiltration. This allows bad actors to plant stories, to plant false sources, to do things like that. And so that's why on this show, not only do we spend our time analyzing and deconstructing the mainstream legacy media, but we also spend time debunking sort of what we find to be uncredible sort of truther information, which we've done in the past, and sometimes people get very mad at us for doing that. But it is our role to play as the whipping boys to try to keep some sense in the community. So we encourage everybody to try that out as well. Well, we should probably keep going. What do you say?
Oh, yep. Anybody who's doing media literacy stuff, you're invited to a party. Go to canarycry.party, put it in your URL. You'll find a tree of links that leads to everything from where to listen to the show, watch the show, how to produce the show, and how to connect with us and the community.
Welcome to Canary Cry Party. It's the place you wanna be. So say, welcome to Canary Cry. Gameplay, canarycry.party.
That's right. Go check it out. There's all sorts of great stuff there. To actually address something that's somebody said in the chat just now, New World Disorder, referring to the canarycrynewstalk.com website. He said, although it is better now, not HTTPS though. HTTPS is a more secure this is a way of accessing a certain URL. Canary Cry News Talk is HTTPS. It is fully compliant with all security stuff. I think New World Disorder is referring to canarycry.party.
Yeah,
that
a lot
is
of our
HTTP.
domains. Yeah.
Well, hold on. So canarycry.party is not HTTPS because we do not own the Linktree website. We are forwarding canarycry.party to our Linktree. We did not build it. It is a service, a microservice that we use to make things easier. Now, can we build our own? Yes. Should we? Yeah, probably. But it's just sort of like a hub for the rest of our links. So yes, we've had a couple people bring up canarycry.party is not HTTPS. That is true because it is not a website that we own. I do not believe that you can HTTPS forwarding URLs.
You can't redirect.
So the reason it is not secure in that way is because we are just redirecting it to another website that we do not own. So it is as safe as Linktree is, and Linktree is as safe as, all the other sort of corporate microservices, which is to say not perfect, but they do have some liability if something happens. And we don't store or do anything over there. It's just literally a hub of links, and they're good links. Go check them out. You can find other podcasts that we do. You can support the show. You can sign up for our newsletter or the text message alert system. Do all those things at canarycry.party. All right. Other than that, let's thank some producers. Guns.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
That's right. Let's take a break. Thanks some producers. We're on the value for value model, which means we take no corporate money whatsoever, because what would even be the point? Talk about grifters in the in the fringe community, the truther community. In this nowadays, it's almost the mainstream community. But we consider taking corporate money when our mission is to fight against the influence of corporate legacy news media as well as corporate interests in independent media. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. And indeed, not saying everybody who advertises is a bad person, but when corporations are being advertised, when corporate money is involved, it is simply a part of media literacy. You do need to question, you need to check in, you need to be skeptical about the motivations of getting your click there. If they get paid simply for you clicking on a link or listening to an episode, that does open up opportunity to say whatever needs to be said to get you to click. Here, we are not funded by corporations who pay us money to gather your attention. We only earn money when we bring value to people's lives, which means if they find our... well, first of all, it allows us to say things that we shouldn't say. And it allows us to be honest and make people mad without worry about, losing advertising dollars. It allows us to criticize the left and the right. It allows us to criticize the truthers and the normies. It allows us to do all these things because we believe that that is more valuable, and listeners who see the value in that, hopefully they put value back in, because it's the value for value model. It's the only way that we are able to keep the show going. Now, you can produce, as we've said before, you can produce with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Lots of ways to get involved, but we're going to thank some people who helped out financially this episode. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. We already thanked our executive producer, Rochelle S. Happy birthday, executive producer, Rochelle S. And we got a few more people to thank, starting with producer Jordan B.
Hey, Jordan. Is that Jordan Peterson?
Yeah, I was going to say that, yes. Jordan B. Peterson. Thank you very much, Jordan B. Comes in with $77.77 plus fees.
Amen. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much. And there's a note here from Jordan. It says, Age of Deceit 1 led me to salvation in Christ out of the New Age movement. Thank you guys for the lighthearted delivery of the news and the excellent research. Wow. Thank you very much, Jordan B. Yes. Age of
praise
Deceit.
God for that. That's all him.
We wouldn't be what we were if it weren't for Gonza's hard work there with Age of Deceit, and we love hearing especially salvation testimonies about AOD. It's cool. Really incredible.
Yeah, that's why I said praise God, because not really my doing, I would say. That's the Lord at work, folks.
Okay, humbly McHumbleson. Thank you very much, producer Jordan B. Next up, we've got producer Katie U.
Ooh, Katie U, thank you.
Yeah. Now, it's hard to deduce exactly what Katie U's producer amount was, specifically because it is not an amount that I recognize, but it is technically hold on a second. Oh, I see. Oh, Katie's actually in the chat, I believe. So, Katie, if you are able, let me know. And this is because Katie, you came in through Linktree. Linktree has weird fees that we don't actually know. So that was one thing. If anybody, you can produce right there at canarycry.party through the Linktree. It does add a little bit of an extra fee, which is fine. It's not debilitating, but it does make it hard to know exactly how much you came in for. But I believe that KDU came in for $55.55.
Ooh, thank you, KDU.
That is my guess, considering the numbers. And we got a note here. It says, we love y'all. We are proud to be part of the Canary Cry family. Heart emoji. Keep up the great ministry. Love from James, Katie, and Ian.
Hey.
And they do put their last name in here. They do, Katie U, or the U family, always put their last name in here, which I'm assuming they do that because they don't mind us reading the last name, but it almost gets stuck in my throat before it can actually come out because I'm so trained to not say last names. So, KDU, if you want me to say your guys' last name, you got to tell me explicitly because I don't know if I can do it otherwise. But thank you very much, James, Katie, and Ian.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate
I love it. And they've come in before. I like seeing them come in. Next up, we've got Sir Morph, Now to the Burning Chariots, 1111.
1,184 episodes in a row. Is that correct? There?
Yeah, that is true. 11. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Sir
Thank
Morph.
you, Sir Morph. Next up, we got Sir Alex Protocol V2, Now to the Berean Protocol, pocket full of sevens, 129 episodes in a row.
Oh, yeah! Man, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sir Alex Protocol V2.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we got Runk Smash, pocket full of sevens.
Hey, Runk Smash.
Oh, and Runk Smash would be on a 33 episode streak.
33. What happened to my 33 jingle?
Did I lose you?
Oh, no, I'm here. I'm looking for my 33
Just
jingle.
silently scrolling through.
I said
Illuminated Lizard Master Shield. Officially solidifying Illuminated Lizard Master Shield.
The most exciting streak.
That's right, 33 in a row. You are an Illuminated Lizard Master Shell, Runk Smash. And he sends a note with this, says, "Hey, cool kids, technically anonymous here." Ah, great. Don't worry about Runk Smash. He's just indisposed. Well, there's a rich fiction being created here. I definitely didn't abandon him in a marshy bog. Anyway, I love all you're producing, this wonderful show. Peace and love, T.A.
Technically anonymous.
Technically anonymous.
All right. Thank you.
Wow.
Technically anonymous Runk Smash.
What a labyrinth you just led me through, Runk Smash.
Yeah.
All right. As of now, that concludes our list of financial producers who came in the amount of $7.77, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. We got some people who came in under that. Let's thank them now.
Okay.
Starting with Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Pandas, 91 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Darren.
Then Dame Gale, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's, 215 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Dame Gale.
Then we've got Veronica D, the Streak Sister, 215 in a row.
Thank you, Veronica D.
We got Doctor Who Dundat, 16 in a row.
Thank you, Doctor Who Dundat.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 251 in a row.
Sir Casey.
And we got Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, 240 in a row.
Sir Scott.
There we go. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't check the Patreon. I wonder if I should do that. But while I do that very fast, I want to thank everybody for producing the show. Let's give these streakers their streak.
Yeah!
Streakers.
Oh, yeah! Man, thank you so much.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
Women rule!
Mm-hmm. Indeed they do. Gons, you got a lot of people. For those who are not watching, you're just listening. Gons has been holding a guitar.
Yeah.
Are you still holding the guitar?
It's still in my lap, yes. Wow.
Oh. People are wondering if you're going to play something. Oh, not plugged in. Okay. Gotcha. Yep. All right. Well, there's no Patreon supporters. In fact, as is the trend, we lost some Patreon supporters. We're sorry. We're sorry about that, folks. Okay. Thank you all for producing the show. Thank you for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage.
Time for COVID?
Yeah, here's the thing, Gons. We've been pretty loosey-goosey recently on the COVID section and YouTube. Do you have any instincts on this one? I mean, the point is, as always, we're just going to be reading some mainstream news Are there any that might?
CNN,
No.
KCRA,
No.
and a couple tweets. I think
I mean,
we're okay.
here's the thing. I think we disagree with all of them.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
They're all mainstream, and we just sort of there's nothing to misinfo about, huh?
Okay, well, I guess extra disclaimer for Susan and gang over there at YouTube.
Here, YouTube, here's the disclaimer, because inevitably somebody's going to have to review this one. Some human will eventually have to review this one. Somebody take down the time code for this, please. Maybe Clank or the timestampers. What follows, we will be talking about COVID and associated medical advice and such and products, but everything that you're about to hear is written directly in the mainstream media. Perhaps somebody might have heard this before, and perhaps this is the type of information that would have formerly got us kicked off of YouTube, but we are simply reporting on the reporting. So let's do that now. We're not here to spread any disinformation or be a carry water for Putin or nothing. We're here to support CNN in their journey to putting integrity back into journalism. All right.
It's Corona time. COVID-19.
Uh-oh.
COVID-19. 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 Coronavirus.
Vaccine. Number one way.
All right, we're going to start off with a quick clip from. Oh man, my heart hurts watching stuff like this. Jimmy Fallon made a song about the new variant. Let us all know what to look for.
Yes, the new variant. Remember, this is the new variant that was reported in, I believe it was CNN. We could check the sources from 2 episodes ago, where they discussed how the new variant of Omicron is as different from original COVID,
right,
as original COVID is from SARS.
Right.
So just keep that in mind.
Pretty different. Okay. All right. What's Jimmy Fallon got here?
It was Alpha, then Delta, then Omicron next. But this latest variant might be the best. It's XBB.1.5. Another brand of COVID-19 has arrived. It's a new strain, but it isn't the same. Sounds more like Elon Musk's kid's name. It's XBB.1.5. When you're inside a facility, it could be a robot from a Star Wars trilogy. It's XBB.1.5, not OMG or MP3 or TCBY, or an eye chart made by a really high guy. Sounds like the password of your parents' Wi-Fi. It's XBB.1.5, XBB.1.5. It was Alpha.
Oh no, it's repeating.
Yay. This was really abominable. It was very bad. And if you were not watching and you were just listening, God bless you and you're welcome. Because you could kind of, when he's doing a little dance, he's doing like a little B-52s type of dance. He looks like the most uncomfortable person that has ever existed.
I was watching this and I sense his soul kind of cry. You can see his soul crying out from behind the veil. He's going, "Please save me, please help me. I'm stuck in this."
It's almost like he's apologizing at the same time.
Yeah, it's a really weird vibe where he's like, "I'm sorry I have to do this, but I get paid to do it. I make a lot of money."
He's like, "This is what I have to do. I'm not even in control." It's almost he looks almost as if he's not even in control of his own body at that moment.
That's definitely possible. And he does cover one eye. Sort of.
Yes, he does. He does cover one eye. Yeah, and again, just to show how much the world has changed since we started doing our podcasting in 2012, Guns. I mean, this is Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
Now, admittedly, he is in prime time. He is technically famous, but the viewership for that show is so low at this point.
They're only getting viral with just stuff like this where people are disgusted with
when it's
what
bad.
He's doing. Yeah,
right.
Bad.
Yeah. So, you got to cut him some slack there. He's trying, but to have talk about Elon and robots and covering an eye, and what used to be fringy and weird, our show, is now just sort of regularly sort of talked about or sang about, I guess, on primetime television. It's very strange.
Yeah.
But that was just to give you all the chills before we get into the real news.
Well, here's one thing that I'll say. You're going to have a bunch of kids, maybe, who won't forget the name of the new variant, XBB.1.5.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Why do you write a song about something? Well, why do we write a song about the ABCs? It's to be able to remember it. Mm-hmm. Having a song about XBB 1.5 is something I could not have quoted to you off the top of my head.
But now you can with that rhythm, that B-52 groove.
It's there.
XBB.1.5.
Why? Why did he do this? I don't know. Did he just not run out of ideas?
Oh, no, we know why he did it. Don't you?
Why?
It's the money, baby.
Yeah.
It's keep the job. It's to keep the position.
Well, it just shows that his job is not to be funny.
No. Well, I don't think
it's not to be funny, and it's not to be good.
That was the big sentiment with the rise of Jimmy Fallon. It was, hey, he's such a nice guy, but he's not really funny. He seems like a nice dude.
Sure.
That was his whole shtick.
All right, can we talk about real news now?
Yeah, /dot Twitter account here tweeted out science./dot.org. I know it's confusing. The tweet was Moderna CEO 400% price hike on COVID vaccine consistent with the value. And so the story is that there's a report by an anonymous individual who said that Moderna is considering raising the price of COVID-19 400%, or about 4x where it is. And grabbed the attention of Elon. Elon said it was seems extraordinarily high. No, he said, he said, quote, this seems extortionately high, not extraordinary, extortionately high. It also isn't clear whether, all things considered, a second booster helps or hurts. Oh no!
Well,
he's
it will become more clear. Yeah, it will become more clear in a moment. But yeah, Moderna boosting their prices 400%, if indeed they come through with that, is obvious. I mean, they're not selling in bulk anymore. No. You don't have the governments of the world dropping billions of dollars. That's, volume equals savings. Guns, you all know this. Volume equals savings. So in order to keep their profit margin where it needs to be, they need to raise the prices because they're selling less of them. And mandates are dropping, and trust is falling, and that pesky data just keeps coming out, which brings us to CNN. CNN.com, FDA vaccine advisors, quote, disappointed. And, quote, angry that early data about new COVID-19 booster shot wasn't presented for review last year. Pretty long headline for CNN, but pretty heavy. FDA vaccine advisors. Now, we've talked about the vaccine advisors, the panel, the council, and their
people that quit during the whole thing.
Yes, their variable attitudes towards boosters. You had people quitting over the approval for children.
People on the board who had been there a lifetime, 30 years on the board, quit because of none of the stuff they were rolling out was based on science.
Yeah, you had the director of, I guess I'm thinking of CDC, where Walensky went against the advising of the Vaccine Advisory Board and approved boosters when the board said that they shouldn't. I think it was that was the children one. So FDA vaccine advisors disappointed and angry that early data about new COVID-19 booster shot wasn't presented for review last year. Some vaccine advisors to the federal government say they're disappointed and angry that the government scientists and the pharmaceutical company Moderna didn't present a set of infection data on the company's new COVID-19 booster during meetings last year when the advisors discussed whether the shot should be authorized and made available to the public. Wow. The data suggests the data that they weren't given at the time, they were pushed to make a decision on the booster without the data. And the data that they were missing suggested the possibility that the updated booster might not be any more effective at preventing COVID-19 infections than the original shots. The data was early and had many limitations, but several advisors told CNN that they were concerned about a lack of transparency. U.S. taxpayers spent nearly $5 billion on the new booster.
Oh, good.
Which has been,
I am so glad we paid for that.
Yeah. Which has been given to more than 48.2 million people in the U.S. Quote, I was angry to find out that there was data that was relevant to our decision that we didn't get to see, said Dr. Paul Offit. We remember Paul Offit, a member of the Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee, a group of external advisors that helps the FDA make vaccine decisions. Quote, decisions that are made for the public have to be made based on all available information, not just some information, but all information. At a meeting of this FDA advisory group in June and a meeting in September, the panel that advises the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the experts were presented with reams of information indicating that the new vaccine worked better than the one already on shelves. According to a review of videos and transcripts of those meetings and slide presentations made by Moderna, CDC, and FDA officials. Wow, it just happens to be the same group of folks every time, doesn't it, Gons? It's weird. And now Moderna's raising their prices on a booster that apparently shows it's no better. The data, called immunogenicity data, was based on blood work done on study participants to assess how well each vaccine elicited antibodies that fight off the Omicron strain of the virus that causes COVID-19. The data that was not presented to the experts looked at actual infections who caught COVID-19 and who did not. It found that 1.9% of the study participants who received the original booster became infected. Among those who got the updated bivalent vaccine, the one that scientists hope would work better, a higher percentage, 3.2%, became infected. No. Both versions of the shot were found to be safe. So you got to add that in there. But yeah, the new booster was actually worse than the original booster, which does not come as a surprise to anybody. But it's just fun to see it printed in CNN. Mm-hmm. This infection data was far from complete. The number of study subjects who became infected was very small, and both the patients and the researchers were aware of who was getting the original shot and who was getting the new booster. Despite these imperfections, the data was included in a preprint study that was posted online in June, again in September in an FDA document, then later that month in a top medical journal, and advisors to the FDA and CDC said the data should have been shared with them too. Quote, it's not a group of children. We understand how to interpret these results.
Burn on those kids learning media literacy, huh?
Yeah.
And learning how to interpret COVID data.
That's right. The New Jersey children learning how to interpret COVID data. Dr. Eric Rubin, a member of the FDA Vaccine Advisory Committee.
Stay in your lane, kids.
We're not a group of children. We understand how to interpret the results. The 6 FDA and CDC advisors interviewed by CNN said that this infection data wouldn't have changed how they voted because the data had such limitations, but it still should have been presented to them. And that's part of what I love.
Easy. Okay. Yeah.
No, it's part of what I love about this is because it shows that they wouldn't have made a different decision. They just don't like that their handlers didn't trust them to follow through with the deal. They're like, hey, we're going to pass it. Hey, man, we're going to pass it. Don't worry about it. We just don't like being treated like children. Which is a fun sort of look into how whoever was supposed to provide this data, whether it's the FDA or Moderna themselves, whoever it was, it shows the
hubris.
Length. Well, it shows the lengths that they are willing to go to ensure that they get the support that they require. There's all this talk, back to the New Jersey conspiracy theory kids. How could 650 people keep the moon landing secret? How is that even possible? It's illogical. Well, this is one example. Is the people who are charged with confirming or approving or whatever a vaccine were never given the information. So it's not so much that they're keeping it secret, it's just they never knew the full scope. It goes on, quote, there should always be full transparency, said Dr. Arnold Monto. Yes, there's that word again. A professor of epidemiology at the University of Michigan School of Public Health and acting chair of the FDA Advisors Group. Quote, these data should not be dismissed. They are early, but they indicate that we need to look at them and see what their value is. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but okay.
That is weird.
They indicate, the data indicate that we need to look at them. Okay. Well, if you didn't see them, then you never got the indication that you should look at them. Dr. Pablo Sanchez, a member of the CDC's panel, called the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, said that if the data, quote, was looked at as part of the study, it should have been presented to the advisors prior to the decision. The FDA and the CDC convene their advisory board meetings and make presentations to the advisors. At last year's meetings, so it was the FDA and the CDC keeping information away from the advisory board, which is even more critical in the detail here, because Moderna, Pfizer, those guys, they get a lot of flack for their participation in the obfuscation of data. Pfizer not wanting to release data for 75 years, stuff like that. The corporations get a lot of flack for that. But this right here, written in black and white on CNN.com, puts the FDA and CDC right smack dab in the middle of the liability of not showing the data. It was the government organization themselves that they straight up hid data from their own advisors.
Moderna,
so you have the FDA, you have the FDA and the CDC, the government taking actions to protect the interests of a big pharma corporation. Now, of course, that comes as a surprise to nobody, but it's written on CNN.com. The situation has gotten so dire that CNN has to write in their article that the government took explicit actions on the behest of a big pharma corporation. Well, your CNN-loving normie friends. Okay. No, hold on. Your CNN, because this is what it's all about. you, dear listener, you've been having conversations with your normie friends. They love CNN. You've been dealing with that for years. And now you can show them this. And they must come to terms with the fact that their own government explicitly has been lying by omission, not just to the advisory panel, but to you.
Okay. My point was going to be that I believe this is part of the Great Reset, is to just expose the lack of trust in these institutions and rebuild them from the ground up. But also, it's interesting
point
here.
Still can be that.
Yeah,
your point can still be that.
But
these are
also,
not mutually exclusive.
In the article, it mentions how the next paragraph here, Moderna spokesman Christopher Ridley said in an email to CNN that the company shared the infection data with the FDA and posted the study manuscript before the agency's panel meeting in June, quote, in response to requests that we share an update from the ongoing study. That study preprint was posted online June 25th, 3 days before the FDA advisors met. So Moderna themselves are saying, hey, we shared the info to them.
Exactly.
Almost like saying that they're almost throwing the FDA and the CDC under the bus, which is very interesting.
Exactly, because they knew, Moderna knew that they were going to get passed no matter what. I mean, but it puts the onus directly on the government. They got caught red-handed.
Well, let's see what they say here, because Michael Felderbaum, an FDA spokesperson, told CNN in an email that, quote, the FDA received the preprint less than a day prior to the advisory committee meeting and, quote, the information was therefore not provided in an adequate time frame for it to be included in the agency's meeting materials, and generally the FDA only discusses data at advisory committee meetings that the agency has had the opportunity to substantively review.
Sure. So you've got some conflicting stories here.
For me there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, who could possibly have the motivation to lie about this?
I think Felderbaum gives it away here, because his quote continues, quote, numerous studies support the findings that the COVID-19 vaccines remain the best defense against the most devastating consequences of COVID-19, such as hospitalization and death. Again, where's the data for that? But okay. And that the updated vaccines may help provide better protection against the currently circulating variants. Straight up lie. Isn't that a straight up lie? Because what this is showing, this information that they hid is showing is against that exact thing. So
let's find the link right now. We just had the link about how the current booster, I mean, there's this story, of course it's referred to in this story, but we just reported on the story. I'm going to have to go back in the timestamps here, where they come out and they just plain up say that, these boosters not working out so well. They're basically useless against Omicron.
Yeah, Kristen Norland, another CDC spokeswoman, said that due to the many limitations involving this clinical data, it was not featured in the CDC's advisory committee discussion. Then there's a big old subheadline, emphasis on transparency. So weird how that is such a theme these days.
It's everywhere, man. It's
I told
like
you it was going to be a thing, man.
Matters.
Told you it was going to be a thing. And so here it is. Yeah. The advisor said there are three main reasons why it matters that the infection data was not presented to them. The advisor said there are three main reasons why it matters that the advisors. One, they said is the potential impact of their decision. If Americans were going to be getting these shots, all available data should be brought to the table for consideration. I agree there. 2, the advisory committee meetings are streamed live online, and regulatory agencies around the world use the information to help make decisions about vaccines in their countries. So, 3, they stressed that transparency is important. The public doesn't witness conversations among FDA officials or between agency officials and pharmaceutical company executives, but they do get to watch the advisory panels' proceedings. The outside experts said the pandemic has demonstrated the extent of vaccine hesitancy in the U.S., and it would be reassuring to the public if all data, not just some, were discussed during the advisors' meetings. So, and
that was the point I was making early on, which is like, you guys are shooting your own self in the foot by hiding the data. I mean, even if you put out the data that wasn't 100% in support of the shot, at least you would have the trust of people, and they're not supposed to interpret the data anyway, so the good citizens would go ahead and take it anyways because they're not the experts.
Yeah, so they go into a little bit of the detail of what happened there, and then at the very end of the next month, so after the voting happened, after the omission of the data, so nobody really knew, the U.S. government announced agreements to purchase the bivalent booster from Pfizer and Moderna, a contract for $3.2 billion with Pfizer and $1.74 billion with Moderna. Cha-ching!
Yeah.
Which is
Moderna
kind of interesting.
Prices.
Yeah, see, it's weird though because Moderna's saying, "Hey, we share the data," but then the U.S. It's the government agencies that are hiding it, but also that benefits Moderna and Pfizer because then they get the money. So
yeah, exactly.
There's a little bit. I'm sure there's more to it than what we're reading here, but
neither of them are being honest here. That is the point.
Yeah.
The point is neither of them are being honest. And if they can keep pointing the finger at each other and keep the confusion up, then just nothing will happen. Right. It's about pushing off the blame until the next news cycle. Well, we do have some more fun news over at KCRA. We've been following the progression of the military mandate for the vaccines, and there's an update on this.
Yep. This is KCRA. Pentagon formally drops COVID-19 vaccine mandate for troops. We have a little clip here to play.
Well, the U.S. military will no longer require members to receive the COVID shot. The House, by a vote of 350 to 80, passed a defense bill Thursday night that removes that COVID vaccine mandate for military members. The legislation, which provides more than $800 billion for national defense, now goes to the Senate, where it's expected to pass and then be signed by the president. Republicans say the vaccine mandate hurt recruiting efforts.
Yeah.
If they were about to kick out over 20,000 National Guardsmen and women, they had already discharged over 8,500 active duty members. That is a massive blow to our readiness that we can't afford in the middle of a recruiting crisis, in the middle of massive military buildup from China. We just literally couldn't replace those folks.
More than 8,000 active duty service members have been dismissed because they refused to be vaccinated.
There you go.
Yeah, we just heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. I don't know. Now comes the question, are the people who were dismissed
going to return?
Going to be, re-enlisted or whatever? That's the real question.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But also, it's very interesting that the context is, hey, China's building their military, so we must build ours. And this COVID thing, this just shot thing is just really detrimental to our numbers. So it's not even really about the health and safety of the soldiers. It's more about we need more bodies.
Military readiness. I know, especially with the National Guard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very specific.
Yeah. So, okay.
All right. Let's thank some more producers.
Let's do that. Okay, here we go. Oh boy, I was not ready for that one. Let's see. What am I doing? Oh, here we go. I'm going to press this button here.
Break.
This is break. Don't just consume the content, but become the content. Become the content. All right, this is our break where we thank producers for their God-given talents. And we just ask that you provide value back by building the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. We want it to be for the show. I know there's lots of talented people out there doing their own thing, but we ask that it's specifically for the show. We're going to start off with a speak pipe here.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Go to canarycrynewstalk.com. Any of the pages there, you'll see a green tab on the right side or the bottom. Go ahead and click that. It'll give you a pop-up that allows you to record a message, an audio message to us of up to 90 seconds. It gives us the right to play it or not to play it on air. And today we have a message from Rochelle, who I believe is our executive producer, if I'm not mistaken, of this episode today. So here's Rochelle.
Happy Wednesday, Canary Cry team. But it is not just any Wednesday. No. It is January 11th. 111. I know, big deal, right? But happy birthday to me. So I just want to tell you guys you are always a gift. So I'm doing Psalm 11 on January 11th. I trust in the Lord for protection. Why would you say fly in the mountains direction? The wicked string their bows, fitting their arrows, aiming and shooting from the shadows, at whose hearts were humbled, from when the foundations crumbled. But the Lord from his heavenly temple watches the wise and the simple, examining the wicked and the righteous, hating those who love the violence. He will rain down blazing coals on the wicked. With the scorching winds they will be afflicted. For the righteous Lord loves justice, showing his face to the virtuous among us. So trust in the Lord for protection and follow his word for direction. Thanks, guys. Stay strong for Jesus.
Thank you, Rochelle, and happy birthday, and thank you for your executive producership and your speak pipes.
Big day.
Yeah, we really appreciate every time you leave a voice message for us, and so it's a great contribution to the show. And yeah, we just want to thank you. So appreciate it. Anything you want to say, Basil, or we can just move right along?
No, let's keep going. I agree. Amen and amen. My tummy hurts. This is a fun part about just being on not being on the videos. Now I get to lay on the floor while I podcast.
Oh, well, okay. Okay. All right.
Just relaxing, folks. Take it easy. Everybody, you know what? Wherever you are, just take a second, find a comfy spot on the floor, and just lay down. We're just going to take a little break here with your best buddy.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're going to do some audio production here.
Audio production. Productions.
And we have a piece here from Jonathan F.
Jonathan F.
His note says, "Hello guys, I had been saving this Macron NWO comment for a while, and you guys probably covered it on a show anyways. It's pretty insane how so much is going on and people are still blind to what's going on. Enjoy, and God bless." So here's it's a 22-second audio clip of Macron New World Order.
Are you on the US or China side? Because now, progressively, a lot of people would like to see there are two orders in this world. This is a huge mistake. Even for both the US and China. We need a single global order.
Yeah. Yeah, Macron, not too big of a fan of the sort of unipolar idea that either China or the U.S. should be in charge, or the bipolar dichotomy where he has to take sides, trying to play the field, get that new world order global government going. Come on, Macron.
Yeah, well, much to Macron's chagrin. Macron. We're entering a multipolar world order at the moment because each nation must reconstruct before they come back together even stronger than before. Okay. Thank you, Jonathan F. We're going to do some artwork now.
One art, please.
We kick it off with Sir Dove Knight of Rusbeltia.
One art, please, from Dove.
The note says this: "Peace. After last week's disturbing article about the bee vax, I thought I'd make a sticker design to help persuade those filthy racist refusenick bees to do the right thing for their community. After all, the bee jab is proven safe and effective. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for you." And it's Dove. I love this. This is so awesome.
Those refuseniks. Yeah, this is in regards to the new bee vaccine. Just for some clarity, because I saw this was confusing some people. It is not a COVID vaccine for bees, but that does not make it any less weird. And here we've got Anthony Fauci.
No, Anthony Fauci. Got to get it right, man.
Okay. And he's standing up at the White Hive, Washington, the podium for the White Hive there. You've got the logo for the White Hive. You've got Anthony Fauci with his Baphomet pin. He's up at the podium. He's explaining to the rest of the Hive why they must it is their duty to get vaccinated. And at the top, you got a quote here. It says, "We've got to reach hive immunity, Dr. Anthony Fauci." And of course, we've got http //canarycry.party. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. This is awesome sticker design here. And yes, we've got we're going to need to get a whole new batch of stickers made up for the supply drop, because every supply drop comes with some awesome stickers designed by Dove. And my goodness, these things are so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, these are fantastic. I would put this up. I mean, this kind of thing, especially Fauci stuff, you know, people love the Fauci bashing. So if you
so recognizable,
and this would appeal to someone who's a pro Fauci too, like be like, oh, it's kind of cute.
Sure, yeah.
Kind of a cute Fauci bee. Oh, I wonder what this party is all about. So anyway, thank you. That's my curious normie voice, I guess. Okay, so we also have a piece here a couple pieces from iAnon. iAnon. She has notes
I
here.
don't have access to the Proton Mail, by the way. So you will. I'm assuming these came in on the Proton Mail, because I did not see them come through the portal.
Oh yeah, we got it. Yeah,
remember, folks, we got the new portal, canarycry.art, where you can upload your art.
Yes, art submission portal. Yep. The note here from iAnon says, "Hello to my favorite podcasters. I haven't done art in a while, as I'm finding it difficult to find motivation for doing anything that is not absolutely necessary these days. But God is good, and I was able to do a couple pieces from previous shows. I remember Basil mentioning rabbit coin as cryptocurrency, and to make an actual bunny rabbit, I present you rabbit coin. Yes." It is foam around bunny's mouth, in case the drawing wasn't clear. And so, yes, there's a drawing of Basil, sort of a simple cartoon form. And he's holding up a rabbit with foaming mouth. And there's a little thought bubble that says, "Help!"
Yes.
Rabbit coin.
That is exactly what I'm thinking of every time these little guys reproduce. And yes, surrounding me, sort of in the background, are just like thousands of rabbits.
Shadows of rabbits
seemingly falling from the sky.
Yes. And then at the bottom it says, "Coin become mad rich. Rabbit coin become mad rich.
To the moon, baby."
Yeah, go to the moon. Hey, that's Chinese mythology. Yeah. Very nice. She has a second one here, and another piece from Wednesday's show, 577, on Antarctic tourism. I'm hoping God. Oh, so this is the other piece here. It's got a couple penguins. On the left side here, it's like a split drawing. Left side, there's a dancing penguin. She got some seashells as a part of her hula thing. Visit to see hot native chicks dance, is the caption there. On the other side, leave with a new appreciation for wildlife. And it's got a couple scary Nephilim penguins holding guns and threatening the visitors there.
Yeah, it reminds me of like a Antifa rally or something.
Yeah. iAnon completes her note here. I'm hoping God will grant me motivation to work on backlogs of ideas. As far as t-shirts go, I think a research piece I sent in before is a great idea for a t-print, but needs a better rendition. Perhaps in Sir Dove's style, like Tweet Hungry Boys. Don't have to do it, but if you're looking for ideas, you have my blessing. Also, I wanted to know if snail mail address listed on support page is still good, in good standing. Looking forward to the next show. iAnon. I believe so. I believe the P.O. box there is still operational. So if you guys got something to sell, please, or not sell, send in the snail mail, please do that. P.O. Box 7383, Laguna Niguel, California, 92706. And you got to put my name, unfortunately, at the P.O. Box. You got to put Gons Shimura or
that's
Gonzo
the
Shimura.
key.
Yeah, we did get
a key. Even if it's something for me, you got to put Gonz's name on it.
Yeah, they put a giant question mark, or somebody put a question mark on a piece of mail that came in recently. I can't find it in front of me, but yeah, that the snail mail is still operational. But yeah, thank you very much, iAnon, for a couple of these of these hand drawings. Very nice. Very well done. Moving on, we have one more today from Courtney S. And she has a
two
note.
more.
Oh, we got two more?
Yep, there's two in there.
Oh, there's two in there. Yeah. You want to read the note, or you want me to go for it here?
I was going to read it if you needed time grabbing the other piece. But
I got both of them here. So
hey, Basil and Gons, we have art for you. Lola had an idea to make a picture of you both being grabbed up by a robot.
Yes.
And Cassius decided to draw it too. Cassius wanted to tell you that in his picture, Gons is upset because the robot stole his hat. Thank you for your hard work and hope you enjoy the art. Love and blessings, Courtney S. Excellently done, Lola and Cassius. First of all, which one are we showing first?
Let's
the
do
color one?
Yeah, let's do Lola's first with the robot arms.
Yeah, we got
coming down.
Lola's here, and you got myself wearing my red hat, my googly eyes, and on the googly, we've got a mixed medium here. It looks like maybe crayon or colored pencil, but stuck on my VR headset is some actual googly eyes.
Real
there.
googly eyes, yeah.
Yes, and you've got Gons on the other side, and a robot who's up on the ceiling. It's like the Toyota ceiling arm robot. We're also with googly eyes. There's a little canary perched on the robot's ear, pecking at its head there. And it says AI. It's got an AI label on it. And reaching down from the ceiling are two robotic arms grabbing our heads, Gons.
Yeah, the robot can have our hats.
So it's just a matter of time. And you are wearing the Canary Cry News Sock t-shirt, which is very fun.
Yes. Yeah, I guess,
thank you very much, Lola. Well done.
Appreciate it, Lola. And yes, I say they can take my hats, but apparently that would upset me because we're looking at Cassius's other drawing here.
You would be upset.
I would get upset. Yeah. Well, especially if the robot takes my hat but doesn't take yours, that would upset me. If both of ours are being taken, I can just just say, hey, it's just part of the deal. But
just happens. Yeah. Well, Cassius is drawing here. You've got one big scary AI robot in the middle.
It's like a jack-o'-lantern robot.
Big fangs, and is wearing Gonza's hat. And there you go, Gonz. You're on the left-hand side there. No hat. Very sad. I'm on the right-hand side there. I've got the googly eyes. I've got the hat on, and I'm kind of sticking my tongue out there. That's a good look. Very well done. Thank you both to Lola and Cassius.
Yep. Thank you very much to both of you, and thank you, Courtney S., for sending it in. Appreciate it. Thank you for the art. We have a couple. No, is it just one? Yeah, I believe it's just one microfiction today.
Microfiction. Microfiction.
Rung Smash is taking the day off here, so we have one from Stephen S. Where's that music? Stephen S.
Yelling from the CEO's office of Huge Pharma. XBB? That's not a scary name. It won't evoke fear of impending death in the masses. We have 1 billion vials that need to move off the shelf, and we use a variant name that sound like a droid from Star Wars.
Oh, don't worry. Jimmy Fallon's got it covered for you, CEO.
Yeah.
He's got a little ditty for you that he'll
He
get
struck
in
fear
everyone's
into
heads.
my heart. He seriously was doing that dance, and he looked as if somebody was pointing a gun at him.
I'm telling you, there's something about this performance that just screams help. It's like it's like when Britney Spears shaved her head. It's like MK Ultra. Like, I want out.
And with the microfiction there, Stefan includes the Wall Street Journal article that we covered earlier this year. Are vaccines fueling new COVID variants?
Oh, right. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Stefan S.
Thank you, Stefan S. And that does it for all of our producers who come in with their God-given talent. We appreciate all of you. And we encourage all of you to, for those of you who have not contributed to the show in that way, we invite you to do so, because we know there's lots of talented people out there. It's it's one way to give back to the show. We know it's not always possible to do your treasure. So, contributing with your talent is something that we love and we appreciate. And, it's helping out with the content. It truly is helping build the community here. So thank you very much.
Yeah. And go to canarycry.art. Canarycry.art is the place to upload any of your creative content for the show.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's wrap up the show with one more story here.
So a new discovery. Antarctica.
Clearly in the bottom of our planet. Advanced Antarctica.
Climate crisis. Penguins.
It's cold, Basil. It's cold. Antarctica, go burn. It's a snowstorm. Antarctica.
Ice scientists are penguins.
Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
Blood. Just gonna scream blood until you say something, Basil. I don't like you podcasting laying down.
I was just gonna see where this went.
I feel like you're very passive in your laying down state when you podcast.
Well, I didn't sleep last night, and it's been a bad day, and now my tummy hurts.
Okay, well, I'll do the honors here. This is BusinessInsider.com. Blood falls, gushes red water from Antarctica's ice. It took scientists 106 years to figure out what causes its color.
The Earth is bleeding. We are the virus, Gons.
106 years to figure out. I could have told you from first sight. This is Nephilim penguin blood. The ground screams. Okay.
Yes.
The soil.
Blood cries out.
Blood cries out from the earth.
There.
Yeah. Okay. So it says here. A large glacier in Antarctica produces a bright red river that oozes out of the ice, aptly named Blood Falls. Why the reddish water pours out of Antarctica's Taylor Glacier and into Lake Bonny puzzled scientists for decades. There's another picture there. This picture, yeah.
Well, according to this, over 10 decades.
Yeah, they could have said centuries, but or over a century. Yeah. The photo that they have here just looks like dirt. Kind of looks like chocolate milkshake is spilling off the side of the ice there. The phenomenon was first discovered by geologist Griffith Taylor in 1911. At the time, he thought that the red algae living in the water was responsible for the water's striking red hue. A little bit more photos here. More than a century later, scientists found what causes the bloody river. Are you ready for it, Basil?
I'm ready.
Iron salts seeping out of the ice that turn red when they make contact with the air.
Iron. Yeah, once you hear it, you look at it, you're like, yeah, it's rust. It's rusty water. I mean, we've all seen rusty water before.
Yeah.
How could that take a century to figure out? I feel like just a little sample. I don't know, do some sciencey stuff. Look at it under a microscope, throw a magnet in there or something. I don't know. Just looks like, but where is the rust coming from? Where's the iron? Is it the Nazi Antarctic bunkers? Is there a crashed UFO under their guns? Or is it iron from the blood of a gazillion beheaded penguins? I mean, the potentialities are truly limitless here.
Well, let's see what the scientists say here. In 2017, scientists found that Taylor Glacier formed roughly 2 million years ago. How did they figure that one out? I'm still curious about how they know for sure that, anyway, trapping a saltwater lake under it. Yeah, we heard about that. Millions of years later. Wait, so it's 2 million years ago, which was when it was formed, but millions of years later?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so maybe 2 million years later? The ancient lake has reached the edge of the glacier, squeezing out salt water. Okay. In 2015, another study, researchers found a network of rivers flowing through cracks in the glacier using ice-penetrating radar. That means liquid water can exist inside an extremely cold glacier. Yes, I think we reported on some of this as well when it came out before. While it sounds counterintuitive, this is a quote, water releases heat as it freezes, and that heat warms the surrounding colder ice. Aaron Pettit, a glaciologist at University of Alaska Fairbanks and co-author of the 2017 study, said in a press release.
Glaciologist is not a real job.
How dare you? Quote, the heat and the lower freezing temperature of salty water make liquid movement possible. Taylor Glacier is now the coldest known glacier to have persistently flowing water. this might explain also, parts of glaciers melting and then using that as a, hey, the ice is melting in Antarctica, but not reporting on the new ice that's forming.
Right.
In 2009, we're going back even more here, researchers discovered that the underwater lake is home to unique inhabitants, a community of microbes that can survive extreme conditions with no light or oxygen. Instead, they use iron and sulfate to survive. Oh, I get it. We're gonna mingle with this iron, Basil.
Is that what it is?
Iron does not mix with miry clay.
Yeah, you got to imagine there's some clay at the bottom of that lake too.
Yeah, well, it's the blood of man or woman with the blood of ice. We shall create a new hybrid species. Researchers believe the lake trapped beneath the glacier millions of years ago was full of microbes. This is a very boring article. Quote, among the big questions here are, how does an ecosystem function below glaciers? How are they
who cares?
able to persist?
It's the Nazi bases. We know it's the Nazi bases.
Scientists believe studying these microbes will be a boon for astrobiology.
Oh, see, there it is. The life of stars.
They can shed light on how life might survive in other worlds with similar bodies of frozen water, like Earth's neighbor, Mars.
Whoa, bro.
This whole thing is about Mars. See, Mars
really
was
is.
once... I know. The mythology, it will be interesting how the mythology is written, because I feel that Elon's part of this is that part of his, his whole thing with Mars sometime in his lifetime is going to be that, hey, Mars used to be a lush green planet just like the Earth, and then they destroyed it with climate change or whatever, and now, they turned into the red planet. And look, there's proof. The blood rivers of Antarctica is proof that if we don't fix, the climate change, then we will be like Mars and become a desolate red planet.
Yeah, well, Mars is red because it's also rich in iron oxide.
That's what I'm saying.
Why it's the same exact thing.
Yeah, can't let the ice melt. You got to, pass this climate change bill because we don't want to turn into Mars.
Does that mean there's Nazi bases on Mars?
Oh, go back to episode. I don't know.
I think I figured it out.
Episode 60 or something of Canary Cry Radio, where we did a whole thing on Mars. Got in trouble for that one too. People get upset. People get
Did
upset.
we? I don't think we did.
Well, I remember getting comments of people like, "I love your show, except the Mars show. That was nonsense."
Did we have Obama teleporting to Mars or something?
We did. We had that guy who said he was going to be president in 2016. That didn't work out for that dude.
John Teeter?
No, not John Teeter. John Teeter was a time traveler, but there was another guy who was part of Project Pegasus who claimed that he was in the classroom with Obama in one of these Project Pegasus thingies.
Right.
And he heard them say that he will become the president of the future. And then so he thought that he was going to be the guy too, and he had a PDF, remember? He had a PDF talking about his plans to become president in 2016.
I don't remember it that well. You have a pretty good memory.
Oh, I was really into it. I forget the guy's name though. I'm going to look it up. Project.
Yeah, the good old Canary Cry Radio days, folks.
Yeah.
This is
Mars.
We were just babies back then.
President. We were doing a decent job of digging up information back then too. I mean,
it was much more fun back then. We
Andrew
weren't considered domestic terrorists.
Andrew Basiago.
Yes. That rings a bell.
Yeah. Good
That
times.
is so funny.
Good time. Such an innocent time.
I am just waiting for the moment. This will be used, if not like sort of in a literal sense, at least in sort of an artistic sense for climate change, some sort of climate change campaign. Antarctica is bleeding, because of your Ford F-150.
Yeah, I know. I think that's part of the Mars thing too. We got to restore Mars because Mars was once a lush planet with life. But look what they did to it.
Because that gives Elon too much credit. If you say we have to restore Mars, then that makes Elon like the guy. But at least for now, they got to keep Elon as the enemy.
Well, maybe they want Elon to do the restore Mars thing, get all the Republicans on board.
It'll be
with the
like,
funding of
why
it.
would we restore Mars if we can just save
No, we're sending
Earth?
all the Republicans and white nationalists to Mars. And Elon is going to help us get all these crazy white nationalists off the plan cake here and over to the Mars corridor.
Yeah, you're right. That makes way more sense.
All right, I think we're done.
I think we're done. I cannot believe.
Yeah, so we need you to save energy so you can, heat your home.
I'm so tired. I'm so tired. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. I want to thank all of our producers, whether you came in with your time, your talent, or your treasure. We got some people to thank here at the end, starting with our Clippies.
Oh, sorry, I was dueling my guitar. My bad. That's bad, Gons.
I can't believe you didn't have it plugged in.
Flippy. Clipping all those videos.
Thanks. That's right. Thank you to the Clippies. They are clipping the show, making the long show a shorter show. Isn't that nice of them? And you can subscribe to the Canary Cry Clips channel over on YouTube and Odyssey. And while you're there, drop a little thank you note to Emsworth and Faye Liverin for being so cool.
Thank you to both of you. Appreciate it.
And that's possible because of the timestampers.
Timestamp. It's hard work. Timestamp.
Yep, timestampers. They're going through, they're timestamping the whole episode. It's incredibly valuable to so much of our back-end processes, and that's why we thank our timestampers. And
Jade Bouncerson.
Today, or last episode, 579, was done by Jade Bouncerson. Thank you very much, Jade Bouncerson, for your dedication.
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you to our social media gal.
The social media consultant.
Thanks so much.
Social media. Follow us.
Thank you to Dame Miss G, the OV in the Deep Rivers, for making sure the art gets up on the social media. We appreciate that very much. And while you're at it, folks, head on over to canarycrymeetups.com.
Canary Cry Meetup.
Still no meetups yet. Waiting for it to pick up. If you want to put on a meetup in your area, that I can almost guarantee that there are Canarians in your area just itching to meet people like them. Finding somebody who's into the same podcast as you is such a rare and special aspect of being a human being in this time, this age that we are in. And who knows, we might not get to do it for very much longer. So I know you're sitting there going, I wish somebody would put on a Canary Cry meetup here in Cincinnati. I would definitely go to a meetup if someone put it on. That's what everybody else is thinking, especially in Cincinnati. So go ahead and put it on yourself. All you got to do is just email us, pick a time, pick a place, and we'll tell the world, and you can make some friends. Doesn't that sound nice? Go to canarycrymeetups.com. We'll see you there.
We'll see you there.
This is fun. See you at the meetup.
That's right. Leaving reviews on Apple Podcasts is so nice. Such a nice thing for you to do. And most of you are listening to this show right now on Apple Podcasts. So just take a second, leave us a rating and a review. It's really nice. Helps us out and makes us feel good, and will forever influence future generations and let them know why this show is worth taking a look at in their cyber archaeology class in Space College. Go ahead, leave a rating and review. Thank you very much, or else we're going to have to bring back Grumpy Gon's uncle, Shamura. And then other than that, thanks for the links for Jam and everybody else who sent us links. Jada Dave sent us some too. Thanks to Clink and Ifis for all your help across the board. And other than that, folks, just share the show. Share the show with your friends and your family and your friends, families, friends, dogs. But you don't have to do it in the regular way. You can do it in all sorts of ways. You know, sharing it on your social media is always nice. Bringing it up at dinner is always nice. Renting out a billboard in your town for like 3 months is a great way to spend like $3,000 if you just got that money burning a hole in your pocket. Or if you're, you know, some sort of famous late night talk show host, it doesn't matter if you're funny or not. It doesn't matter if you have any talent. All that matters is you do what you're told, because you're more of a mouthpiece of the power structures that currently have their icy grip on the minds of the citizenry there. So if that's you, perhaps you're Jimmy Fallon, perhaps you're just sort of like Jimmy Fallon, you know, or perhaps you want to become Jimmy Fallon. You can make up a cool little song and a cool little dance, but not to scare people into being afraid of a disease that nobody cares about anymore. But you can make a little song and dance about Canary Cry News Talk. It could go a little something like this. Do beep beep boo beep boo beep beep boo. Listening to podcasts is my favorite thing to do. Canary Cry News Talk is the show for you. Gotta know what's up with the news. Everybody knows you gotta choose Canary Cry News Talk. Beep beep boop boop, something like that.
Well, now I wish my guitar was plugged in, but also I don't want to
off the top of my head.
Well, I was playing along with you, but you know, people can hear it. But
okay. Guns, okay.
Yeah.
Just plug in your guitar next time.
No, I don't want to do that. I'm going to be doodling all episodes. It's going to annoy people. We can experiment.
Okay.
So we're just going to turn this podcast into me playing guitar.
You can listen to whatever Gons is saying, or you can go ahead and share the show however you want. If you need any more instructions, we call it rattling cages. And all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
Yep, that's right.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
Gons, you got any last words?
Thank you to everybody who's been listening all the way through, especially if you're still here. You are a champion. God bless you. Thank you very much.
It's been a weird week. Been a weird week for the show.
Yeah.
It's been a weird month for the show, I think. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Feed him more. Give me a break.
Armageddon's on the way.
He's a Satanist from one of the Satanist churches here where they sacrifice babies.
It will kill.
We're all gonna die.
It will kill.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people zoo.
I love the Great Reset. We will hunt you down and make you pay.
I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Wives in the cosmos, children in the space lane.
I'm an adult in a spaceship.
Supersonic space lane screamed to life, and the vehicle swooped upward on board. The passengers experienced a 3 G's of force and the burst of extreme acceleration and watched the blue sky fade into space.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Oh, yeah.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Yes, do it, Richard. Do it, Jeff. Do it for humanity.
To all you kids down there,
I was once a child with a dream. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship.
He can accomplish it. You can too. Big windows, cool. Rocket ship, cool. Space plane, cool. Nukes, cool. Blowing stuff up, cool. Space plane, astronaut, rocket ship. Serious anchor. We have Bezos. He's a human. Just look at him. Go to the bathroom in bags. He can go to the bathroom in the cosmos. It changed everything.
We're all gonna die.
Wives in space, children in the cosmos, with your best friend brother. Wives in the cosmos, children in the space plane.
We are headed to space.
Can I tell you a sort of a twisted pleasure that I have?
It's okay. No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap.
It takes time. Oh, a lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. I was like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love peeling off that big old lint trap, rolling it into a ball, peeling off that big old lint trap. It's just like throwing it in the trash, really. Should I be saving this?
No.
You could knit it into a scarf or something?
No.
Surely. It's very soft.
No.
This would make really good fire starter. You are a weird prepper. Hoarder. Like a weird guy, man. Weird prepper. Not normal, like a weird guy, man. Clearing out that lint trap.
No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. That lint trap. I know it's gross, folks.
A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. I was like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love that. I am constantly having to remind myself, wear a pink shirt for the show. Constantly having to remind myself, save the dryer lint, use it as fire starter, knit a scarf, save the dryer lint.
Spread the clouds across the sky.
goodbye, everybody. And that's the end. And everyone says, oh, that was fun.
Bye-bye, bye-bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.